Chapter 1 Woman, You're Playing with Fire. Weihai City. Jianshan Media Company. Su Chen, at his workstation, receives an aggressive message. Lin Shuya, Su Chen, come find me after work, you must explain to me what happened last night. Otherwise, the consequences will be serious. Seeing her domineering tone as the female CEO, Su Chen swallows nervously. Last night, he and his best friend were drinking and eating skewers, and he lost a dice roll. The punishment was to play truth or dare, to confess his love to someone on the prestige list. Perhaps he was a little tipsy at the time, but he chose to confess his love to his immediate superior, Lin Shuya. She is the general manager of the company. Not only is she capable at work, she is also beautiful and has a good figure. She is recognized by everyone as a goddess. Naturally, there are countless men chasing after her, but she herself has never been involved in any scandals, so you can see how high her standards are. Su Chen flipped through the chat history from last night with her, and his face turned even more pale. Su Chen, Shuya, I like you. Lin Shuya, you little brat, what do you mean? You've got some nerve, haven't you? Lin Shuya, do you know that it is expressly forbidden in the company for employees to fall in love with each other? Lin Shuya, fine, you're pretending to be dead? You're done for. The pressure of the stunning CEO Lin Shuya made Su Chen tremble with fear and dare not speak. If he told her the truth and said that he was just playing a game as punishment, there was a high probability that she would fire him directly. The consequences were unimaginable. It was over. This joke had gone too far. Su Chen put his hand on his forehead, and the more he thought about it, the more remorseful he felt. Things had developed to the point of being out of control. If he had to do it all over again, he would never be so impulsive as to dare to provoke his direct superior? Isn't this playing with fire? What should I do? Waiting online. Just as Su Chen was racking his brains, a mechanical prompt suddenly sounded in his head. Ding! Congratulations on activating the host Love Assistant system. You can interact to improve your relationship with the goddess and receive generous rewards such as cashback, items, and assets to help the host enjoy a carefree life. Current list of goddesses to woo, none. Please add as soon as possible. What? Love, a love assistance system? Su Chen's eyes lit up, and he was quite excited. Just now, he was still worried about offending his beautiful boss and losing his job, but now he had activated the legendary system? Moreover, this love assistance system seemed to be able to help him solve the problems in his relationships with the opposite sex, and he could even get rewards from it. It was simply going to take off. However, before he could start delving into it. Knock, knock. The sound of tapping on the desktop sounded. A girl with gold-rimmed glasses and a gentle, well-behaved appearance appeared in front of Su Chen. Su Chen, Manager Lin wants to see you in her office. Ha? Su Chen looked up, surveying the girl in front of him with a faint smile, and a message box immediately appeared. Name, Xian. Age, 22. Overall appearance, 85 points. Favorability, 68, friendship plus, not quite a lover. Current status, slightly nervous, worried. Su Chen was a little surprised. If not for the system prompt, he really wouldn't have realized that this junior fellow student Chen Yan has such a high favorability rating for him. If he adds the other person to the system, won't he be able to receive a wave of favorability rewards? Who knew? The system immediately popped up a prompt. The other person's overall appearance score is less than 90, and they cannot be rated as a goddess, so the addition failed. Ha? Is there such a thing? Su Chen was stunned. Unexpectedly, the standard for rating a goddess is to have an overall appearance score of 90 or higher? So her extremely high favorability rating is useless? She is clearly a pretty and cute girl. Unfortunately, it's not meant to be. Su Chen was a little disappointed, but still wore a faint smile on her face. Okay, I understand. Thanks for the reminder. With that, he got up and walked towards the manager's office. He was already curious about how this tricky system would rate Lin Shuya. Jianshan Media, manager's office. The woman leaned lazily back in the boss's chair, her charming long legs clad in black stockings. Her legs crossed naturally and swayed gently, exuding a mature woman's charm and being extremely seductive. The black lace one-piece dress that hugged her hips brought out her superb figure to the fullest. Her seductive peach eyes, tear-shaped mole, and long, straight black hair as black as ink were incredibly charming. Her eyes, at this moment, quietly examined the man in front of her, who had a handsome appearance and a youthful sense. They were a little angry and happy, and she wanted to say something but stopped. This woman was so beautiful that she could eclipse any celebrity, and she just stared at Su Chen, making him swallow. Lin Shuya was indeed beautiful as a fairy, and her charm was like that of a vixen. But such a supermodel is something he knows he can't handle, so apart from work-related interactions, he's never had any unseemly thoughts before. However, today he's activated the love assistance system, so things seem to be different. Name, Lin Shuya. Age, 26. Body type, 171 centimeters tall, super goddess, peachy butt. Overall appearance, 97 points. Likability, 37, average. Current status, idle, sullen, bored. A goddess with a score of 90 or above has been detected and has been automatically added to your list of goddesses. The interactive system is now active. Lin Shuya raised her eyebrows slightly and said with displeasure, Su Chen, don't you want to give me an explanation about last night? It can be seen that she really cares about last night's incident. If you don't give a reasonable explanation, your favorability rating will definitely drop again. Su Chen was naturally tongue-tied and didn't know how to explain for a moment. You have to understand, Lin Shuya is no ordinary little girl, and you can't just mumble a few words to win her over. He was like an ant on a hot pan, frantically organizing his words in his head. Just at this critical moment, 3 response options popped up in the virtual box in front of him. 1. Explain? You're so hot, you're a perfect cannon fodder. I'm a contemporary passionate young man, isn't it only normal for me to fall for you? What more explanation do you need? Righteous. 2. I'm very sorry, Lin. Last night, I played truth or dare with my friends and lost. I definitely didn't mean to offend you. I apologize again. Sincere apology. 3. Lin, I want to tell you what's on my mind. Direct confession. Please think about it and make a choice carefully. Each choice will affect the increase or decrease of your favorability. If you increase your favorability with Goddess Lin Shuya to 60, you can get a reward, 500,000 yuan in cash and a 500,000 yuan cashback card. Wow! 500,000 yuan in cash? And a cashback card? That's tempting. Su Chen glanced at his beautiful boss's exquisite figure, and the rewards offered by the system were just as tempting as her. Immediately, his eyes scanned the 3 options, and his brain started racing. First, the first answer was too explicit, and he estimated that if he said it, he would be directly swept out of the door. Apologizing would probably not work either, which was why he had never dared to tell the truth. Then, there was only the last confession option left. Gamble. Chapter 2 You are the most beautiful woman in Shanghai I have ever seen. Lin Shuya. Su Chen seemed to have gone through a lot of mental struggle, and finally plucked up the courage to say, I want to tell you what's on my mind, is that okay? As he said this, he carefully observed the other person's reaction. He wasn't sure if this option was actually feasible. Upon hearing this, Lin Shuya's expression remained cold and indifferent as she said lightly, Go ahead, what's so difficult to say? But don't lie, or you know the consequences. Lie? Su Chen's heart trembled. Wasn't he lying right now? Could it be that he had chosen the wrong option? Was sincere apology the way to go? However, at the moment, it seemed that he could only continue with a stiff upper lip. Fortunately, the system gave a follow-up response for this option. Su Chen took a deep breath, followed the template, and began to speak eloquently, Mr. Lin, I really like you and admire you. You may not know how charming you are. But I believe that all living creatures would willingly fall at your feet. I know that our statuses are very different, and I can only try my best to restrain myself and suppress this emotion. But because of my drunken impulse, I have still caused you trouble, and I am very sorry. After saying this, Su Chen lowered his head, his face turning red, and he didn't dare to look at the other person directly. It wasn't that he was shy. It was that the lines given by this system were so damn mushy and disgusting. This was really a love assistance system? Was it not playing a joke on me? He was already cursing in his heart, and normally, he would not be able to say such things at all. Ding! Lin Shuya's favorability with you +5. Please continue to work hard. Su Chen froze. Is this for real? He looked up, secretly observing the other person's reaction and expression. Sure enough, Lin Shuya's angry face had eased, and a playful curve had appeared at the corner of her mouth. Really? Am I that charming? She seemed to have thought of something, her eyes looking at Su Chen as light as water, and she asked contemptuously, "You men are all very good at sweet talk. You said you like me? What do you like about me?" Su Chen was momentarily at a loss for words. This was another rhetorical question. Don't men like women when they see them? How do you expect me to answer? He was a little panicked. Could he turn his life around and rely on the reward of improving his favorability? At that moment, the system's prompt appeared again. 1. I like you as a person, but I like your body even more, and I want to press you against the wall and go crazy. 2. If you don't like me, just forget it. Stop whining, like you're so precious. You really think you're gold-plated or diamond-plated or something? 3. I haven't liked someone this much in a long time, the kind that makes your mouth go up just thinking about them. You're the most beautiful woman in Shanghai I've ever seen, and there are stars in your eyes, as if they could talk, and they're touching my nerves all the time. Like. Su Chen's face froze. Obviously, the first and second answers are both too extreme and are directly ruled out. Only the third answer seems more plausible. But will it be too long and outrageous? It's practically no different from the short composition, so will it really work? Taking a deep breath, Su Chen looked sincere and said in a deep voice, "I haven't liked someone this much in a long time, the kind where you can't help but raise the corners of your mouth when you think about them." These mushy love words, spoken with deep feeling from his mouth, coupled with his usual composed image, are extremely persuasive at the moment. Lin Shuya is stunned. The young man's deep eyes are focused on her alone at the moment. Originally, she just wanted to tease the other person a little, and at most, say a few intimidating things to relieve the boredom. But she didn't expect Su Chen to be serious with her, did he? You are the most beautiful woman I have ever seen in Shanghai. There are stars in your eyes. I like you when you're serious, and I like you when you're relaxed. I like you no matter what state you're in. I don't know what's wrong with me. These days, your image is always in my head. Ding. Lin Shuya's affinity with you +5. Ding. Lin Shuya's affinity with you +5. Shut up. Lin Shuya frowned slightly, covering Su Chen's mouth to stop him from continuing. Su Chen's confession of love made her feel so embarrassed that she couldn't bear to listen anymore. How can he be so eloquent without a shred of shame? Their eyes met. Lin Shuya looked at him and said disdainfully, "Where did you learn such corny lines? You're barely good enough to fool little girls." Su Chen nodded obediently, like an innocent little white rabbit. Admiring Lin Shuya's face up close, he realized that she was incredibly beautiful. Her eyes were flirtatious and enchanting, like water shrouded in mist, overflowing with charm. Her mouth was slightly curved, her red lips slightly parted, inviting a kiss. No wonder she was rated 97 points by the system. Lin Shuya let go of his hand and looked at him suspiciously. "Usually, I don't see you talk so much. What's wrong with you today?" "No, nothing." Su Chen scratched his head and smiled awkwardly. Women. They say one thing but mean another. The system's favorability rating is rising rapidly. But you're quite bold, daring to covet your superior. Lin Shuya's eyes flickered, and she regained her usual stern expression as she said coldly, "Su Chen, our company expressly forbids employees to date each other. You know the seriousness of the matter, right? So, do you know what you should do?" She looked at Su Chen calmly in her eyes and gave the latter another difficult problem to solve. 1. I will bury this feeling in my heart and not affect you. 2. I will resign now, so that I can officially pursue you. Mountains and seas can be crossed when you love someone. 3. I think, having an underground relationship with you. Su Chen was at a loss. Which one should I choose? Chapter 3 The Beautiful CEO is hard to read. 1. I will keep this relationship buried in my heart and not affect you. 2. I will resign now so that I can officially pursue you. Mountains and seas apart can be overcome if you love each other. 3. I want to have an underground relationship with you. Su Chen is a little torn, and her head starts to spin. Unlike the previous options, these three options seem quite normal, and it seems that no matter which answer is given, it will not be inappropriate. Then, one must carefully consider the subsequent development. If you choose the first answer, then this relationship may end here, which is not conducive to subsequent development. And the second answer, while it seems like a firm stance, it shows the posture of licking a dog to the fullest. In a relationship between a man and a woman, unilateral devotion is the most useless. What is more important is mutual attraction, so that the other person can see your bright spots. Licking a dog will only get you nowhere. So, is the third answer, which seems the least reliable, the only correct one? Thinking about this, Su Chen looked up at his beautiful boss. She was waiting for his response. The atmosphere seemed to have become a bit tense. Suddenly, Su Chen whispered, I want to have an affair with you. What? Lin Shuya's eyes widened in disbelief. What did she hear? Su Chen, who had always been honest and calm, actually proposed to her in the company that he wanted to have an affair with her? This is crazy. You, get out of here right now. She angrily snapped, waving her hand to drive him away, and directly gave him an order to leave. Su Chen was shocked and broke out in a cold sweat, quickly turning around and leaving the office. It's over. This is really over. She was so angry. Did she really choose the wrong person? However, the system suddenly popped up a prompt. Ding. Lin Shuya's favorability towards you has increased by 5. Ha? What's going on? Su Chen was shocked. She was angry, but why did her favorability rating go up instead? Is it really so hard to understand a woman's mind? Ding. Lin Shuya's favorability rating with you has reached 62 points, and the reward has been activated. Reward, 500,000 renminbi in cash. Reward, a 500,000 renminbi cashback card. The iron was hot. Which one do you like? I'll wrap it up for you. Which one? Su Chen glanced at her and said indifferently, I'll take both. Also, according to your taste, pick 8 more for me, to make a full 10. Then accompany me to look at the rest. Eh? Yi Xinyu was shocked. She had expected him to ask the price of the 2 clothes and choose the one he liked better. But he said he wanted both and asked her to pick 8 more? More to come? That's so generous. Sir, you're not joking, are you? These clothes are not cheap. Yi Xinyu steadied herself and couldn't help reminding him. You know, if she just picks 10 clothes, it'll cost at least 100,000 yuan. The point is, Su Chen really doesn't look like a rich person, so how can she have such strong purchasing power? Very expensive? Su Chen was a little puzzled when she asked this question, and when he picked up the tag on the clothes and took a look, he immediately felt relieved. It's only 12,000 yuan, so just take it. He has 500,000 yuan in cashback, so this amount of money is completely within his budget. Good, I understand. I'll help you choose. Seeing that he said so, Yi Xinyu no longer had any concerns and enthusiastically helped Su Chen choose clothes. For every item she picked out, she would let Su Chen have a look. Only after the latter's approval would she write down the style of the clothes and move on to the next one. As for Su Chen, she was more laid back, just sitting on the sofa and nodding to indicate her approval. At this time, several female salespersons noticed what was going on here, their eyes full of surprise and envy, and they were still whispering to each other. After the female store manager found out, she personally served tea and let Su Chen enjoy it. This service attitude was simply beyond words. After the clothes were picked out, Yi Xinyu began to help pick out matching pants. Before long, the clothing part was all picked out. Since the purchase amount had not yet reached the expected amount, Su Chen took a few more pairs of shoes, as well as belts, necklaces, and other accessories, to bring the amount closer to 500,000 yuan. The things he bought had piled up into a small mountain. Such a big scene surprised many customers entering the store. Buddy, you're here to stock up at LV? Several female salespersons were full of envy. After all, how much commission would Yi Xinyu get for buying so much stuff? It was a windfall. It was time to pay. Su Chen and Yi Xinyu went to the front desk. After the cashier had checked and verified the items, she smiled and said, Sir, your total purchase is 4.86 million yuan. Please swipe your card here. The amount was close to Su Chen's estimate and just within the 500,000 yuan cashback limit. He swiped his card to pay. The system immediately popped up a prompt. Host consumption of 4.86 million yuan detected, triggering cashback card reward. Ding! The random cashback multiplier is 3, and the host is congratulated on receiving a cashback reward of 14.58 million yuan. Su Chen silently took out his phone and read the text message. Your account has received a transfer of 145,800,000 yuan, and the balance is 146,849,028 yuan. Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. His savings have already exceeded 1 million yuan. This is really great. And this is only the reward for reaching 60 points of favorability with Lin Shuya. If he reaches a higher level in the future, won't the rewards be even more generous? He couldn't help but start looking forward to it. Next to him, Yi Xinyu was overjoyed, her pretty face flushed with a little bit of red. She was originally a little worried that something unexpected would happen. However, her concerns had long since vanished with Su Chen's checkout. Now, she looked at Su Chen carefully and suddenly realized that the other person was very young and handsome. Ding! Yi Xian's favorability rating with you has increased by 20. Su Chen was dumbfounded. What's going on? Why did the system suddenly tell him that Yi Xian's favorability rating with him had suddenly increased by 20 points? Yi Xian gave a bright smile and said sweetly, Mr. Su, would you like to try on a set of clothes that I've picked out for you to see how they look? If you don't like them, we can exchange them. Su Chen clearly sensed a change in the other person's attitude. From the original respect, it has become much more intimate. Now she speaks in a coquettish manner, showing a little womanly gesture. Could it be that this is the charm of money? However, he also wanted to try this outfit of designer clothes worth tens of thousands of dollars, and what was the difference between it and ordinary clothes? A moment later, Su Chen calmly walked out of the dressing room. His handsome figure, handsome in the sun, the white gold necklace around his neck gleaming, added a touch of informality and carefree to him. His temperament is extraordinary, as if it were natural. His every move exudes a confident radiance, as if he were the noble son of a wealthy family. Several female sales assistants have become starry-eyed, covering their mouths in awe. Wow, cool, wow. Mr. Su, you are so handsome. You are simply a masterpiece of God, so handsome. Yi Xinyu's eyes twinkled as she couldn't help but come forward to praise him. She looked left and right, and the other party was a handsome guy. However, this is also true. Because Su Chen's image is super good in itself, when he first entered Jianshang Media, he was originally going to be the face of the network, but since he is relatively introverted and couldn't bring himself to flatter his big sister, he later chose to become a celebrity scout. Compared to being in the limelight, he prefers to be behind the scenes. So, when someone praises him for his good looks, he just smiles and accepts it gladly. Yi Xinyu continues to praise him, Mr. Su, your image is really great. Many of the big-name celebrity endorsers we have at LV are not as handsome as you. Hearing this, Su Chen can't help but smile, looking at himself in the full-length mirror and smiling faintly. I admit that I'm a bit handsome, but it's not as exaggerated as you say, is it? Yes, you're being too modest. Yi Xinyu was a little excited and picked up her phone. Can I take some pictures of you? I want to post them on WeChat Moments. This was the first time she had met such a handsome and wealthy client, and she had to show it off on WeChat Moments. Su Chen was amused, but he was in a good mood today, so he agreed. Yi Xinyu wasted no time, picking up her phone and pointing the lens at Su Chen, snapping away. She looked so excited. Su Chen was a little confused, only knowing that the system kept sending him prompts. Ding! Yi Xinyu's favorability with you plus 10. Ding! Yi Xinyu's favorability with you plus 10. In no time, Yi Xinyu's favorability with him had soared to 65 points. Su Chen's head was filled with black lines. What's the point of a favorability boost without a reward? And it's so easy to boost it? System brother, can't you lower the standard for goddesses a bit? It's so inflexible? Chapter 5 Unexpectedly. The IFC Mall. Su Chen was walking ahead, smartly carrying an LV bag in one hand. Yi Xinyu and another saleswoman carried the rest of their things. The LV flagship store would have delivered the goods to their home, but Su Chen had rejected the offer, saying it was too much trouble, and asked them to carry the bags downstairs instead. All the way along the way, they attracted the attention of countless people. Many people looked at Su Chen with envy. Who doesn't like the feeling of being free and wealthy? Su Chen suddenly realized that he seemed to have become the kind of person he hated most as a child, a rich person. Yi Xinyu was in a beautiful mood, with a smile on her pretty face. She had just closed a big deal, and a rough calculation showed that she would get a commission of more than 20,000 yuan, which was just great. At the same time, she also felt a strong curiosity about Su Chen. They walked to the entrance of the IFC. Let's go here, you can go back now. Su Chen took the things and prepared to take a taxi back later. Yi Xinyu gathered her courage. Mr. Su, why don't we add each other on WeChat, so that you can contact me at any time if you need anything in the future? Sure. Su Chen added her on WeChat. Maybe in the future, if she needs to order a Louis Vuitton bag, she could take care of her business. At least today, she did give Su Chen a pleasant shopping experience. Afterwards, Yi Xinyu happily hugged her phone and went back with her colleagues. Su Chen hailed a taxi and, while waiting, casually browsed Yi Xinyu's WeChat moments. Wow, this little girl is quite vain. Her moments were full of photos of her exquisite lifestyle, and it was clear that her quality of life was very high. In the past, it would have been difficult for Su Chen to get in touch with a woman of this caliber, let alone be asked to add her as a friend. But today, everything is so easy. Wow, there are even perks? Su Chen's eyes lit up, her spirits lifted, and she enthusiastically began to admire the photos. This was a set of photos from the Nanhai Sanya. Yi Xinyu was wearing a bikini with very little fabric, confidently showing off her slender figure and charming curves. There was also a girl with a baby face and a hot body that was unbelievable. The tight one-piece swimsuit tightly wrapped her impressive size and showed off her proud curves, with a full E. You want to immediately indulge in her paradise and feel her softness and beauty. Moreover, she is very pretty, looking obedient, soft and cute. This appearance contrasts strongly with her superb figure, making people want to bully her. These two superb sisters are simply little demons of the world. So hot. Who could resist? Su Chen was getting carried away. Suddenly, a prompt sounded. Ding. System is automatically detecting. New goddess character card activated. Name, Xiao Mian. Age, 21. Body, height 168 centimeters, 36 Overall appearance, 94 points. Favorability, unknown. Current status, unknown. Su Chen was shocked. This was a pleasant surprise. He never expected that looking at Yi Xinyu's friends list would actually lead to the search for a new goddess. This means that he can get more favorability rewards. That's great. Right. He must find a way to contact her, otherwise it's all nonsense. Su Chen thought to himself, and opened the chat window with Yi Xinyu. Little EZ, Mr. Su, please look after me in the future. Asterisk caret caret asterisk. Air. Su Chen hesitated for a moment, edited a message and sent it. LV flagship store. Several female salespersons surrounded Yi Xinyu enviously and chattered excitedly. Wow, Xinyu, you're really lucky to have met a rich and handsome guy. It's rare to find such a generous customer. Yes, with this big order, you will get at least 20,000 yuan commission. I really envy you. Well, you must seize this opportunity. If you can become his girlfriend, you will become rich and successful and a rich wife in the future. You are so beautiful, you definitely have a chance to pursue him. Be bold and proactive. Men definitely can't refuse a beautiful woman. Don't miss such a good chance. The female sales assistants all started to chime in, offering advice to help their colleague find such a good match. Yi Xinyu blushed with shyness, feeling a little embarrassed. That being said, she did have some longing in her heart, wanting to get to know Su Chen better. If she felt that she was really a good match for him, what was wrong with her taking the initiative? At that moment, her phone suddenly buzzed. Her female colleague, who was quick-witted, exclaimed, Xinyu, Mr. Su has messaged you back. Come and take a look with us and we'll give you some advice. Oh, okay. Yi Xinyu snapped back to reality and casually opened the chat interface on her phone. A message entered everyone's field of vision. Mr. Su, does your best friend have a boyfriend? Could you introduce her to me? Ah, this. Yi Xinyu. Female colleagues, divides degree. Everyone is stunned, and the atmosphere suddenly becomes a little awkward. Chapter 6 Going on a date with her. Night falls. A simple rented room. Su Chen lies on the sofa, bored, and watches a video of a beautiful female anchor dancing. His occupation is that of an internet celebrity scout, and it is his job to identify female anchors. Plus, today he has just activated the system and added a new goddess, which is now his primary goal. In the video, they swayed their hips, their expressions flirtatious, doing their best to please every hot-blooded young man watching in front of the camera. With the help of beauty filters and other technology, they looked very pleasing to the eye. Unfortunately, the system had been slow to make a new move. Clearly, none of these women met the system's criteria for goddesses. But there was some good news. Yi Xinyu had still promised Su Chen that she would introduce him to her best friend Xiao Mian. That's a 94-point goddess with a baby face, and that made him feel a little hopeful. He glanced at his savings and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He had earned more than $1 million today, which was pretty comfortable. Once I've earned a bit more, I'll buy a car and a house and leave this hellhole. Su Chen was planning in his heart, preparing to get up and go to bed. However, the system popped up a prompt. Ding! Goddess favorability task activated. Name, Lin Shuya. Age, 26. Body type, 171 centimeters tall, perfect goddess, peachy butt. Overall appearance, 97 points. Favorability, 62. Current status, work pressure is high, I really want to indulge. A task? Su Chen, who was originally a little sleepy, immediately perked up. 1. I can see that you've been very tired lately. How about you and I go indulge together? 2. You're not off work yet, are you? How about I come to the office and give you a massage to relieve your stress? 3. Are you off work yet? I miss you. Shall we go for a drive and see the night view together? Su Chen was a little dazed when he saw these three options. Originally, he thought that Lin Shuya, as the manager of Jianshan Media, was paid a high salary and should be very relaxed and motivated at work. But on second thought, she did have a lot of pressure. Many people were eyeing her position, and she had hardly taken any vacation in the 3 months since taking office, working overtime every day. With such intense work, the machine would be worn out. How could a woman like her stand it? So, which one to choose? Su Chen was in deep thought. Going to the company to get a massage for her was probably not a realistic option. What about going for a night view drive? Would it relieve her stress? The effect didn't seem to be that obvious either. So, after eliminating the two unsatisfactory answers, there was only the first option left. Su Chen made up her mind and sent a message to Lin Shuya with great courage. Meanwhile, in the manager's office, the stunning woman looked out of the window at the night sky, her pretty face looking a little dispirited. She had really been tired lately, both physically and mentally, her nerves on edge. And she knew that if she wanted to maintain her current position, she had no choice but to work harder than everyone else. Hang in there, you'll be able to relax a little after this. Lin Shuya cheered herself up and forced a smile. At that moment, her phone vibrated. She picked it up and saw that the message was from Su Chen. Su Chen, I can see that you've been very tired lately. Do you want to go indulge with me? Ha? Lin Shuya's eyebrows furrowed slightly, and a surprised light shone in her eyes. She had been under a lot of pressure recently and really wanted to find an opportunity to relax, but she hadn't had a way to vent, which made her very depressed. Su Chen's appearance completely ignited the flame of desire deep within her. But, how dare this guy? You don't want your job anymore, do you? Lin Shuya narrowed her eyes and replied, Rascal, is it because I didn't punish you today that you've gone too far? Ding! Lin Shuya's favorability towards you +1. Su Chen's mouth curled up, and he continued, General Manager Lin, I'm serious about my feelings for you. Please consider what I said today. I promise that our relationship will not be made known to everyone. Lin Shuya was silent for a moment, and she had a fierce internal struggle. In the end, she accepted Su Chen's invitation. Half an hour later, the entrance to the residential area was quiet in the night. Su Chen leaned against the wall, staring ahead with deep eyes. A black Cadillac CT6 slowly pulled up. The window rolled down. Lin Shuya's beautiful face appeared, and when she saw the familiar young man in the window, she couldn't help but light up. Su Chen's image had already changed completely. He was very different from her impression, with an extraordinary temperament. He looks even more cheerful and handsome. Lin Shuya feels valued, but her face remains calm. Su Chen, get in the car. Su Chen opens the car door and sits in the passenger seat. The unique fragrance in the car is charming and intoxicating. Lin Shuya tilts her head and says coldly, You brat, let me tell you in advance, just because I agreed to your invitation doesn't mean I've agreed to have an affair with you. I just find going to work boring and dull, you know? She had put on makeup tonight, and she looked very attractive, especially in the dim light of the car. Su Chen nodded, knowing that she was too good for him. Lin Shuya's mouth twitched, and she felt that she had sounded a bit harsh. She quickly softened her tone. Go ahead, where do you want to take me tonight? Likability mission prompt, indulge in the pleasures of the city with her at a bar. Complete your encounter with her. Su Chen said, let's go to Modern Heaven. Modern Heaven? Lin Shuya was slightly taken aback, is this a bar? Su Chen nodded and said matter-of-factly, "You said you wanted to fool around with me, so it should be reasonable for us to go to a bar, right?" "Okay, I can't usually tell what you're like, you little rascal, you've got some nerve, huh?" Lin Shuya felt a little surprised, and a beautiful arc formed at the corner of her mouth. Then she selected the modern Heaven Palace as the navigation destination. The car started. Soft music played. The beautiful atmosphere was mixed with an ambiguous atmosphere. Looking at the woman next to him, a stunning beauty, in a black lace one-piece dress that hugged her slender figure and made it look full and perky, and wearing black stockings on her long legs, the beauty of her deep cleavage made him fantasize. Su Chen was momentarily lost in thought. Before this, Lin Shuya was his direct superior, a sacred being high above him, someone he could only admire from afar. But now, he had activated the system. Everything had changed. Lin Shuya was actually on a date with him? In the past, Su Chen would never have dared to dream, but now it had become a reality. He had also fantasized about being like those rich people, driving a luxury car and putting his hand on the thigh of the girl in the passenger seat. Realizing his gaze, Lin Shuya smiled flirtatiously and playfully teased him, "Do I look good? You're not thinking about getting your hands on me, are you?" However, she didn't wait for an answer. Instead, she noticed that Su Chen had already placed his large hand on her. The skin contact, the soft and smooth wonderful touch, made her feel like sinking into oblivion. Lin Shuya felt numb all over, as if a nerve had been touched. "Hey! You jerk! I was just joking with you, and you actually dared to get your hands on me?" She frowned slightly and shot Su Chen an icy, deathly stare. A threat, a warning. "Sorry." Su Chen snapped back to reality and gave a somewhat embarrassed smile at his earlier outburst. It wasn't his brother's fault, it was just that his sister was too charming. He had just been distracted and couldn't help but give in to temptation, so he had just gone for it. Unexpectedly, he had caused the other person to resent him. This is bad. I'm afraid that his favorability rating will drop. Su Chen felt a little sad and frustrated. But then, the system popped up another prompt. Ding! Host and Lin Shuya's first intimate interaction, favorability +2. Su Chen? This completely confused him, and he couldn't help but secretly observe Lin Shuya's reaction. He noticed that the corner of her mouth was slightly raised, revealing a hint of a smile, and she obviously wasn't upset. Sure enough. Women are creatures he can never fathom. Chapter 7 System Brother, you tricked me. Modern Heaven Palace. One of the top bars in Weihai. Here, people start their nightlife. Dazzling and psychedelic lights sway, the music is explosive, and the air is filled with the smell of alcohol and cigarettes. Men and women on the dance floor twist their bodies and release their hormones to the fullest. Su Chen, guided by a waiter, arrives at a private box he reserved in advance. The ceiling was a dazzling, fantastical starry sky, with beams of light reflecting off each other, and the decor was exquisite and luxurious. The atmosphere was electric. Lin Shuya sat next to Su Chen, her long, black silk legs elegantly crossed, charming and attractive. She was beautiful, more beautiful than the socialites and young models brought by the big bosses and rich second generation that the waiter had seen, but the latter did not dare to linger too long on her. This would cause consequences that he could not afford. The waiter took the menu and smiled, "Sir, madam, what can I get you?" Su Chen glanced at the menu and started ordering casually, "Give me a bottle of this wine, and then a portion of these fruit plates and snacks." A man should have a firm opinion and take the lead on a date. Overly worrying about the other person's feelings may seem considerate, but it's actually stupid. The waiter paused for a moment and confirmed, "Are you sure you want this bottle of Remy Martin Louis XIII? Remy Martin Louis XIII is no ordinary wine. A bottle costs 49,800 yuan. Su Chen's expression was indifferent, as if the 50,000 yuan meant nothing to him. The waiter's smile grew even wider. It seems that he has met a big spender. His attitude became even more respectful. "Okay, sir. Let me do the math for you. Your total bill is 54,600 yuan, minus the 10,000 yuan you previously reserved. You only need to pay 44,600 yuan. Do you want to pay by card or online?" Upon hearing this, Su Chen took out his bank card and said lightly, "Charge it to 50,000. We'll talk about the rest later." After paying the bill, the waiter handed Su Chen the receipt. "Sir, if you need anything else, please let us know. I hope you have a good time tonight." After saying this, he nodded respectfully, turned around with a smile, and left. However, Lin Shuya, sitting next to him, was already stunned. She had been afraid of embarrassing Su Chen, so she had kept quiet. Su Chen, you don't make money easily, so why are you spending so much tonight? This is 60,000 yuan, do you still want to live next month? As his superior, she naturally knew how much Su Chen earned. In high-spending Weihai, after deducting his own expenses, there was a question mark over whether Su Chen could save 3,000 yuan a month. Now, he had spent 60,000 yuan in one go. 60,000 is nothing. I make millions every minute. What's a little money? It's nothing. 2. If you think it's expensive, then let's split the bill. Otherwise, shut up. She looks disgusted. 3. We can make more money if we run out, but tonight is our first date, and I want it to be a beautiful start, a shared memory just for us. Deeply in love. Without thinking too much, Su Chen looked deeply into the charming woman in front of him and said in a deep voice, "You can make more money if you lose it, but tonight is our first date, and I want a beautiful start, a shared memory that belongs only to us." Upon hearing this, Lin Shuya's eyes flashed a little, and her heart felt as if it had been grabbed hard. I know how you feel about me, but you're really too impulsive. No way. I'd better tell them to refund the wine. She thought about it seriously and decided to get up and go find the waiter. Seeing this, Su Chen grabbed her wrist and said hurriedly, "Lin Shuya, I've already ordered, so just relax and let me take care of things, okay? Trust me, if I can spend this much, I can earn it back." Really? Lin Shuya looked at his confident expression and laughed lightly with interest. If I didn't know that your performance this month is at the bottom, I would almost believe you. But you're right, isn't the point of working hard to earn money to spend it? Today, I'm happy, said Lin Shuya, as she sat back down on the sofa and opened the chat window with Su Chen on Weixin to start transferring money. Lin Shuya is transferring 20,000 yuan to you. Lin Shuya is transferring 20,000 yuan to you. Lin Shuya is transferring 20,000 yuan to you. What are you doing? Su Chen was dumbfounded. If she gave herself the money, it would be like she was paying for herself, and then the favorability mission would be impossible to complete. Can't you see? I'm paying for it, idiot. Lin Shuya had a beaming smile on her face, with a hint of smugness. Because in her opinion, Su Chen had spent 60,000 yuan, which was squeezed out like toothpaste, but she was highly paid, and taking out 60,000 yuan was normal and harmless. Who knew? Su Chen would just click to refund it. Of course I saw it, but there was no need. Lin Shuya was a little confused, and said imperiously, "No, you brat, why are you so stubborn? You won't even take the money I gave you." Su Chen raised the corners of his mouth and laughed lightly. Do I look like someone who takes advantage of others? Air. Lin Shuya sized up the handsome Su Chen and gave a serious answer, like, Su Chen. No, is being handsome my problem? Who are you going to reason with? Ding. Lin Shuya's favorability rating with you +3, current favorability rating 68 points. Luckily, the favorability rating has increased. Not long after, there was a commotion at the door of the box. The DJ's music suddenly became uplifting and passionate. The waiter held a black and gold gift box, which contained a champagne bottle with an amber crystal. 8 sexy bunny girls, holding a lightbox for Louis XIII, entered with their long legs. A beautiful girl DJ in a crop top and super short shorts took over the turntable and screamed in a cute voice. Congratulations, Mr. Su, on your choice of Remy Martin Louis XIII. May the boss have a rolling cash flow and all the best. Then the salute was fired, exploding in the air. Bang bang bang. The confetti, streamers, and props of banknotes flying all over the place were dazzling and overwhelming. It was like a grand ceremony. Is this what it feels like to be drunk with money? Su Chen felt amazed. He had never seen anything like this before. In a moment, the previously empty table was filled with drinks, fruit plates, and snacks, the most eye-catching of which was naturally the bottle of Louis XIII. After saying hello, the waiters led the bunnies off stage one after the other. The noise died down. The beautiful young DJ was still on stage, spinning the turntables and enthusiastically saying hello. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your exclusive DJ Xiyao tonight. If you want to hear any song, just let me know. HM. Su Chen smiled at her and nodded, not really paying attention. But suddenly, the system popped up a prompt. Ding. New goddess character card detected. Name, Meng Xiao. Age, 19. Body type, 166 centimeters tall, perfect white fox. Overall appearance, 92 points. Favorability, 17. Current status, I'm so stressed out playing the decks. Puff. A perfect white fox? Or a goddess? Su Chen was a little surprised. This really threw him for a loop. Before he could react, Lin Shuya's cold, domineering voice sounded in his ear. Oh, so you like the tomboy type, Mr. Su? Ding. Lin Shuya's favorability with you has dropped by 1. Damn you, DJ. System brother, are you trying to screw me over? Chapter 8 Beauty, I can tell fortunes. 1. Haha, you found that out? What man doesn't like a young and pretty girl? I was thinking of going over to ask for a raise. Crossed arms, I'm so awesome. 2. How could that be, baby? I like you the most. Spoiling. 3. Hey, someone seems jealous? Taking the lead. At this moment, the beautiful President Lin Shuya's jealous and pretty appearance was indeed a little cute. Su Chen couldn't help but smile. Oh, so it turns out that Sister Shuya is jealous? Where? Lin Shuya denied it vehemently, saying haughtily, I was just watching you staring at that little girl, almost mesmerized. How about I help you gouge out your eyes and send them over to look at her properly? Su Chen was shocked and couldn't help but roll his throat. The beautiful CEO is always threatening to gouge out someone's eyes, who can stand it? He frowned and thought of a plan. What are you talking about? I was wondering if I should recruit her to be the anchor woman of our company. Do you think a beautiful girl DJ would have any popularity? Could she make money? If Meng Xiyao, who hasn't even grown a full head of hair, could really be recruited into the company, that would be like getting to the moon by walking near the water. Wouldn't her popularity increase in no time? There might even be a chance. Let's find out how deep she is. So that's how it is? You're quite ambitious. Lin Shuya's eyes flashed as she analyzed the situation. There are indeed similar online broadcasters, but if you want to quickly realize value, you have to invest a lot of resources, which is not ideal. The best model is to let her broadcast while she is working. But most bars won't agree to that. That's right, forget it. Su Chen nodded, thinking that it made a lot of sense. He's still not done with Lin Shuya. He wants to eat from the bowl and look at the pot at the same time? It might be a pity to miss out. But people still have to know how to make choices. Lin Shuya saw this and smiled with appreciation. Don't be discouraged, you can ask for her contact information, maybe things will turn around? This time, Su Chen was a little panicked. You want me to add the other girl's WeChat? Zundu Jiadu? Are you testing me? No, I don't want to make you jealous. Su Chen weakly refused. Be good. Listen to me, this is work. Lin Shuya looked at the beautiful girl who was playing the disc with all her might, and smiled. Maybe that kid will be a big internet celebrity in the future? If you become her talent scout, you will become famous in the talent scout world. Su Chen looked confused. It always felt like she was cajoling a child. I have no proof. Ding. Lin Shuya's favorability towards you +3, current favorability 70 points. Ambiguous. Holy shit. She's really not angry? And she's even increased her favorability? This is exciting. Okay, you drink some wine first, I'll be right back. Although Su Chen was excited inside, he still looked like he was forced to work, and got up and walked towards the DJ booth. You've worked hard. Su Chen greeted her first, looking at her up close. Meng Xiyao had a delicate appearance, and was of the playful and cute type. Although she was young, she was dressed provocatively, in a crop top and super short shorts that showed off her long, snow-white legs. As she swayed to the music, her plump breasts jiggled, and she exuded the aura of a young girl. Moreover, she had a special kind of body. Thanks for your concern, Mr. Su, but this is all part of my job. Meng Xiyao gave a cute smile, but her pretty face couldn't help but turn red. Because, she always had a feeling that her secret had been seen through. Su Chen said lightly, add a Weishin, next time I come to the bar, I'll order from you. Great. Meng Xiyao picked up her phone and quickly added Weishin with Su Chen. Her ID was called DJ Xiyao. The avatar was a big selfie of her, and she playfully gave a thumbs up. Su Chen pressed the phone and transferred 2,000 yuan directly, which was your tip, as a reward for your hard work tonight. Wow! Meng Xiao's eyes instantly turned starry, and she exclaimed, Su Xiao, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll perform a shout of God of Wealth arrives for you right now. Ding! Meng Xiao's favorability with you +5. Okay. Su Chen achieved his goal and quickly returned to Lin Shuya's side. Inside the private box, Meng Xiao's enthusiastic shout immediately came, I wish Mr. Su a smooth journey and good luck, and I wish. Lin Shuya took a sip of wine, her fair neck as noble and elegant as a swan. She also imitated Meng Xiao's cute tone and teased deliberately, It's okay, Mr. Su, everyone knows you've tipped. Su Chen, you can't catch a wolf without giving up your children. If we don't show off the strength of our company, how can we lure her into our company? Right, you're the smart one. Lin Shuya nodded, but her smile was a little wily. Because she felt that Su Chen would most likely not be able to get this girl, and what she had just said was just to encourage Su Chen's ambition. Shuya, let's drink. Let's not talk about this anymore. Su Chen raised his glass and looked at her with a carefree and indifferent expression. Lin Shuya also let go of herself, clinked glasses with him, and then gulped it down. The mellow alcohol went down the throat, and the bodies of the two gradually became hot. The lights and wine, the beautiful atmosphere gradually filled the room. After a while, the two were a little tipsy, and their movements became intimate. Su Chen naturally took Lin Shuya's white jade hands, and the wonderful touch of the soft, boneless hands made him unable to let go. I can tell fortunes by reading hands, beautiful lady, do you want to tell your fortune about your career or your marriage? Tell me. Lin Shuya rested her cheek against her hand and looked at Su Chen quietly. The more she looked, the more she found him pleasing to the eye and handsome. All her pent-up emotions and stress disappeared. Su Chen began to talk nonsense in all seriousness. Okay, let's start with your career. Your career is in an upward trend right now, and in the future you will become the boss of a media company. As for your love life, your true love has already appeared. Ha! The name of this person is extraordinary. Let me tell you. It's 2 characters. Coincidentally, everything you lack in the 5 elements is in this person's name. But as for what you lack, it's a secret that can't be revealed, so I'm afraid I'll have to trouble Shuya to use her clever brain. His aloof manner was just like an old charlatan, which was a bit comical. Lin Shuya was amused and laughed. Her beautiful and charming face was full of charm. You might as well just say your own name, it's also extraordinary. She teased, then curiously used her fingertips to write in Su Chen's palm. I'd like to see what you say I lack in my life. Su is a business under the grass radical, and Chen is the sun radical. So I lack. Suddenly, she seemed to realize something, and her pretty face instantly turned red as she scolded. Su Chen, you big pervert. Then, she took Su Chen's big hand and bit it hard. It hurt so much that Su Chen screamed. Looking at his miserable appearance, Lin Shuya finally got her revenge, smugly saying, Humph, see if you dare bully me again. Next time you dare to pretend to be an old wise man, I'll bite you to death. Unexpectedly, Su Chen was not afraid at all, but instead provoked, is that it? Didn't you eat dinner tonight? Next time, use a little more force. Lin Shuya's temper flared, who are you looking down on, you little brat? The next moment, she pounced directly on Su Chen. Chapter 9 Her past and his determination. Lin Shuya pounced on Su Chen, and her seductive long, black silk legs wrapped around him. Her tight, hip-hugging skirt was pushed open by the movement, inadvertently revealing the charming white lace. She was as charming as a fox, unleashing her wild side and simply bewitching to the core. Lin Shuya wanted to lean down and attack the man, but Su Chen firmly grabbed her hands, and she struggled and pouted. Stupid brother, let go of me quickly, let me bite you again. Otherwise, I'm going to get angry. She stared at Su Chen from a high and domineering position, as if she was about to attack at any time. Su Chen had no choice but to let go of her hands. He shouldn't have provoked this woman. That's a good boy. Lin Shuya gave a smug smile, rubbed against Su Chen like a flirtatious little fox, and bit him on the shoulder. The angle of this position made Su Chen's eyes go straight, and his blood rushed to his head. He could just see her beautiful back, her sexy and enchanting waist, her S-shaped figure, and her round and perky buttocks, which were simply a feast for the eyes. He really wanted to feel that beautiful area filled with desire. 1. Press her against the sofa, tear off her skirt, and treat her roughly. 2. Take her waist in his arms, kiss her tenderly, and deepen their love. 3. The time is not yet right, so just hold back for now. Shit, which one should I choose? Su Chen was a little excited, but at the same time a little torn. If he chose the most wrong option, it would cause the other person to resent him, and then all his efforts would be for nothing. Just as he was about to make up his mind, Lin Shuya had already stood up, sat back down next to him, and then tidied her skirt. "Humph, see if you dare to be reckless again?" Lin Shuya said with a proud face. "I dare not." Su Chen smiled sheepishly and could only choose the third option. Endure. After the fun, Lin Shuya was a little out of breath, but she was in an exceptionally happy mood. The previous negative emotions had long since been swept away. Current state, happy, delighted, relaxed. She took a sip of wine, leaned drunkenly on the man's shoulder, and her pretty face turned red like a peach, fresh and juicy. She looked thoughtfully at the man and asked with her lips slightly parted, "Su Chen, do you want to know more about me? My sister is in a good mood today and can satisfy your little curiosity. 1. Which do you think is better, black peach thick tea or pomelo peach thick tea? 2. I want to know about your family. 3. I want to know about that incident that happened when you were in college." Su Chen's heart sank. He had heard some rumors and knew that something very sensational had happened to Lin Shuya during her college years, which had had a great impact on her. At that time, Lin Shuya was the talk of the town at the Kyoto Institute of Media Studies, one of the 3 most beautiful campus girls, and naturally had countless suitors. But Lin Shuya was very career-minded, and while everyone else was busy dating, she had already started her career. With her outstanding looks, singing, and broadcasting talents, she took advantage of the internet boom and quickly accumulated hundreds of thousands of followers on the Shark live streaming platform. She thought everything would go smoothly until the appearance of a rich second-generation suitor. In one night, he spent more than 3 million yuan on her. Su Chen didn't know the specific details of what happened. She only knew that since then, Lin Shuya had been stigmatized and various insulting labels had been posted on her. Borderline woman, sugar daddy, meet the big brother offline. Su Chen hesitated for a moment and said, "I want to know about that incident that happened when you were in college. Can you tell me about it? Do you really want to know?" Lin Shuya's expression froze for a moment, a little surprised. Everyone around her felt that this incident was her taboo and didn't dare to mention it in front of her. But only she knew that she was more wrong than anyone else, and she was more suffocated than anyone else. The feeling of being depressed and having nowhere to vent made her really uncomfortable. Su Chen said firmly, "I want to know everything about you, whether it's good or bad, and I'm willing to face it with you." Hearing this, Lin Shuya's gloomy face cleared up, and she laughed lightly. "So, where should I start? Let's start with the time when I was an anchor." She recalled that past and began to tell the story. Her voice was that of a cold and charming older sister, and listening to her talk was like listening to a late-night radio station. "When I first started as an anchor, I was still a complete novice. I gave myself a very childish name, Nangonyaya. I was very lucky, and I happened to hit the internet boom. Every day, I just sang songs for my fans and told them scary stories. I had a pretty happy and fulfilling life. In just half a year, I went from being a small anchor to accumulating more than 300,000 followers, and I could earn an average of 30,000 to 40,000 yuan a month. I really thought my life was about to change completely, but then that person appeared and ruined everything." A ripple appeared in her calm, watery eyes. Su Chen's heart tightened as well. Lin Shuya continued, "His family owns an entertainment company and is very wealthy. That night, he gave me 3.65 million yuan, saying that he simply admired me. That's 3.65 million yuan, and my family is just average. I've never seen so much money before. I felt flattered, and I was so excited that I couldn't sleep all night. The next day, he invited me to meet offline, saying that it was just a simple dinner, nothing more, and that I shouldn't think too much about it. I admit, I was naive at the time, and I went. When I got there, he told me that he wanted to bring me into the entertainment industry. I instantly came to my senses and knew that there is no such thing as a free lunch, so I told him I had to go back and think about it. As a result, he took me directly to the entrance of the hotel and invited me to go up and have a seat. I thought to myself, I don't like him, so how can I sell myself out for money, and I couldn't get past this hurdle in my heart. So I just ran away." She spoke with great emotion, and Su Chen felt as if she were there, able to imagine how flustered she would have been in such a situation. That guy, he really is a bastard. He actually tried to seduce the inexperienced Lin Shuya? Fortunately, Lin Shuya is very astute, and she can maintain her composure and stick to her principles even in those kinds of situations. If it were a normal girl, she would have given in a long time ago, right? And then what happened? Then. Lin Shuya shook her head and laughed coldly. That guy was so furious that when I got back, he told me to refund the money. I agreed to refund him the other half of the money deducted by the platform, but he wasn't satisfied and wanted me to refund him the entire 3 million. I'm not stupid, so how could I possibly agree to such an unreasonable request? As a result, he started to spread rumors about me, and the sky full of gossip made me feel suffocated. My reputation was completely ruined at that moment. She let out a long sigh and finally said what had been weighing on her heart for a long time. Su Chen listened with bated breath. He knew that Lin Shuya was a woman with a strong sense of self-esteem who stuck to her principles. And for a girl, reputation is absolutely the most important thing. If she can't handle the pressure, she might even think about suicide. Now, not only has Lin Shuya survived, she has even taken the position of general manager. She is truly admirable and the perfect role model for a strong woman. But that man who ruined her reputation because he couldn't get her is truly deserving of death. Su Chen felt indignant just thinking about it, grabbed her hand, and said seriously, Shuya, don't worry. I will definitely help you take revenge in the future. Silly, it's all in the past. Lin Shuya's heart trembled, and she reached out her delicate hand to stroke the man's handsome face, as if she could see her once innocent and spirited self. Although she also hates and is angry. The other party is worth tens of billions, with a big family and business, how can they compete with him? Su Chen has already made up his mind in his heart that he must take out this hatred for Lin Shuya and make that person pay 100 times the price. Otherwise, how can I call myself a man? But I must start now, to build up my strength. Trust me. Su Chen's gaze remained unwavering. Lin Shuya nodded slightly, looking at the man's handsome, determined face. The way he was willing to do anything for her made her heart flutter. Su Chen, you said you like me today? Then call me sister and make me happy? She looked at Su Chen, her pretty face flushed like a peach under the influence of the alcohol. Su Chen looked at her beauty and his throat went dry. Sister, that's a nice name, I'm very happy today, you're so lucky. Lin Shuya lowered her voice and said in a charming, domineering voice in Su Chen's ear, but you must remember, our secret, you mustn't tell anyone. Su Chen nodded, her heart already pounding. Feeling Su Chen's hot, pounding heart, she supported his chest and leaned down to kiss him. Their lips met, and a tingling sensation spread throughout their bodies. After a few attempts, Su Chen temporarily took control and tried to guide the other person. Their breaths mingled. The softness of the tongues entwined and touched in the warmth. Lin Shuya closed her beautiful eyes, wrapped her arms tightly around his, and couldn't help but let out a moan. Her delicate body trembled with nervousness, clearly unfamiliar with this situation. But due to her strong personality, she still wanted to take back the initiative that belonged to her. Su Chen then realized that Lin Shuya had no kissing experience at all. Chapter 10 You can bully me all you want. After a long time, their lips parted. Lin Shuya's face turned as red as a peach blossom, and she quietly laid on the man's shoulder. Su Chen's large hands felt the silky softness of her black silk legs, and this wonderful touch was almost irresistible. Ding! Your favorability with Lin Shuya +5. Current favorability 75. Brother Chen, let's go back. My sister is drunk and passed out. Lin Shuya's voice was as soft as a mosquito's chirp, and she rubbed against Su Chen's shoulder like a little fox, looking like a delicate young woman who couldn't hold her liquor. How could any man resist this kind of intimate contact? Okay, I'll make the arrangements. Su Chen took out his phone and started to operate it, while with his other hand he wrapped his arm around her waist and enjoyed himself to the fullest. Her figure was truly exquisite, with a slender figure and no extra fat. Hugging her was so comfortable. In the Cadillac CT6. The female designated driver asked with a smile. Sir, where are we going? The nearby Bulgari Hotel. Said Lin Shuya. The female designated driver nodded with a knowing smile and promptly started the car. Lin Shuya frowned, pinched Su Chen's waist hard, and whispered angrily, Bad brother, I said go back and rest, but you just arranged for us to go straight to the hotel, huh? Who gave you the nerve? Su Chen felt aggrieved and weakly said, Well, I didn't know your home address, did I? Then you could have asked, why didn't you? Lin Shuya retorted irrationally. Su Chen knew that girls were actually pretending to be reserved at times like this, and must not be punctured. If she really wanted to go home, she would have communicated with the designated driver a long time ago, and would she be arguing with him here? Su Chen pursed his lips and said innocently, I'm a bit stupid, I can't think straight. If Xiao's sister kisses me, I'll remember next time. Lin Xiao's eyes were a little dazed, flashing back and forth. Ha? If your sister kisses you, you'll remember next time? Why does it feel like something's wrong? Bully me if you can. I'm ignoring you. Despite what she said, Lin Xiao had already wrapped her arm around Su Chen's arm, leaning lazily on his shoulder and closing her eyes to rest. This woman, so cute. The more Su Chen looked at her, the more he liked her, and he couldn't help reaching out to stroke her face. Her skin was smooth and tender, as if it could break with a finger snap. It felt so good. Lin Xiao was immersed in this sweetness, and a beautiful arc rose up at the corner of her mouth. Su Chen silently brought up the system. Lin Xiao's favorability with you has reached 75. Yes/no to receiving this stage reward? Yes. Su Chen's heart was itching to receive it, so he chose to receive it directly. The next moment. A burst of light. A technologically sounding injection similar to adrenaline appeared before his eyes. Perfect body potion, after use, your various bodily functions will be greatly enhanced. Strength, speed, stamina, immunity, etc., will all be greatly improved. Due to the perfect optimization of your physique, your current body type will be slightly changed. Holy cow! Su Chen was stunned. Produced by the system, it really is a good thing. It can actually improve your physique? But what kind of changes will it bring? He was looking forward to it. But for now, it was obviously not the time to use it. Bulgari Hotel. Magnificent, full of high-end luxury. Su Chen walked up to the front desk and said lightly, "Handsome guy, do you still have rooms?" "Of course we do, sir." The young man at the front desk stood up and immediately saw the beautiful woman next to Su Chen. His eyes brightened a bit. "Which type of suite do you want, how many?" "Just a single room will do." "What are the options?" Su Chen was in no hurry and continued to ask. The receptionist was momentarily at a loss for words. Before introducing, there is the exquisite queen room for 2888, the deluxe riverview room for 5888, and the 7888 water park fun suite. Which one would you like? Su Chen naturally understood immediately upon hearing this. A water park suite is just the kind of couple's room, isn't it? He and Lin Xiao exchanged glances and smiled in tacit understanding. For a first date, this kind of room was obviously not appropriate. "Give me a deluxe riverview room." Su Chen quickly made his decision. The receptionist nodded, "Okay, please give me your ID for registration." "That'll be 7,000 yuan including the deposit." "What would you like to pay with?" "Scan the QR code," Su Chen said, reaching into his pocket for his phone. However, Lin Xiao had already successfully paid by scanning the QR code. "Okay, check it." "Oh, okay. I got it." The receptionist's brain went a little blank when he saw the payment record on the computer. It's common for couples to book a hotel room these days, but it's rare for the girl to pay. And such a beautiful girl at that? "Buddy, you are truly a role model for us." "So awesome." The receptionist silently gave Su Chen a thumbs up of admiration. In the luxury suite, the lighting was soft, and the atmosphere was exceptionally amorous. Lin Xiao sat elegantly by the bed, her S-shaped body and peachy buttocks very provocative. She swung her long, beautiful, black silk legs, and said in an indifferent tone, "Su Chen, I'm tired. Take off my shoes." Su Chen had just finished changing his shoes, and he handed her the other pair of slippers. However, Lin Xiao shook her head, "That's not what I meant." "Then what?" Su Chen was confused and hesitated. "Change shoes." Lin Xiao blinked her eyes and looked at him with interest. "Oh." Su Chen understood and couldn't help but raise the corner of his mouth. "Is there such a good thing?" "Stay calm, you must stay calm." He squatted down and reached out to help her take off her high heels. The black stockings wrapped around her petite and cute feet, swaying lightly and mesmerizing. Although Su Chen didn't have that kind of fetish, he was still aroused by her. And from his angle, it seemed like the view was pretty good. "Su Chen." Lin Xiao suddenly spoke up, shouting out a word. "Ha? What's wrong?" Su Chen came back to his senses and immediately felt a little guilty. "It's nothing, I just suddenly wanted to call out your name." Lin Xia saw the man in front of her, gently helping her change her shoes. Such a warm and loving scene made her feel sweet in her heart. You will definitely be a good father in the future. And you might even be a slave to your daughter. She looked at the man and praised him from the bottom of her heart. Su Chen's eyebrows shot up. Is she our daughter? Humph, who wants to have a child with you? That's wishful thinking. Lin Xia's pretty face, which had been cold as ice, was now blushing with shame, and her voice lacked a bit of confidence. After all, right now. Chapter 11 Boyfriend Power Max. Su Chen got up and sat next to her, put his big hands around her waist, and whispered, Xia, is today your safe period? Lin Xia's face turned even redder, and she glared at him, you bad brother, I told you were a horny devil. Why are you asking me that? I want. Su Chen grabbed her hand, the corner of his mouth curled up, we've come this far, do we still have a way out? Lin Xia was silent for a moment, and said haughtily, humph, you think I'm afraid of you? You smell of alcohol, go take a shower. Okay, whoever is scared is a dog. Su Chen was delighted, kissed her cheek, and then walked towards the bathroom. Looking at the figure of the man in the bathroom, Lin Xia directly lay on the bed, covering her hot face. She felt incredibly bold tonight. She actually agreed to have an affair with a subordinate who was 3 years younger than her? That was crazy. In the bathroom. The sound of water rushing. Su Chen extracted the perfect physique potion and felt a little excited. Come on, I'm ready. Taking a deep breath, Su Chen picked up the potion and, following the instructions, injected it into his arm. Instantly, a wave of warmth spread throughout his body. It feels so good, I feel full of energy. He stretches out his body and feels the initial changes brought about by the perfect physique. Suddenly, he notices changes beginning to take place in his body. His previously weak arms are gradually becoming strong, and with a little effort, he can see clearly defined muscles. If he looks at his stomach, the little belly he had before has disappeared, replaced by the perfect abdominal line. Holy shit! A six-pack and abs. He's just so damn handsome. Su Chen looked at himself in the mirror and got excited. This body is just right, just the kind he's always dreamed of, similar to the national swimming team. Full of strength, yet not lacking in beauty. This is the healthy beauty that comes from real training. Moreover, he keenly noticed that even his best friend seemed to have been enhanced to some extent. It really is perfect. Su Chen felt like flying. If the system were a woman, he would have to hug her and kiss her passionately. A moment later, Su Chen put away his rampant appearance and pushed open the bathroom door and walked out. At this time, Lin Xia was lying on the bed, flipping through the photo she took with Su Chen at the bar tonight. This was their first date, a memory that was unique to the two of them. Su Chen, are you done? Come and look at the photos I took tonight. She was about to say something, but suddenly she choked. Her phone dropped to the ground with a thud. Because she saw Su Chen, who was half naked, walking towards her. Huh? So you have such a great body? Lin Xia was shocked, her eyes sparkling. She didn't realize that Su Chen, who usually looked weak, had such a strong body. 8-pack abs, clearly defined curves, full of masculine sexual tension. Add to that his handsome face, with a determined look in his eyes. With just these things, how many little girls can't he charm just by casually taking a selfie and posting it on his moments? He really is handsome. Hey, I want to touch it, do you mind? Lin Xia looked up at the man in front of her, her eyes full of curiosity. She was really curious about what it felt like. No. Su Chen took her soft little hand and placed it directly on his abdomen. At first, Lin Xia was a bit reserved, but after getting used to it, she gradually became bolder and began to touch it gently, pressing it with her fingertips a few times. She discovered that Su Chen's abs were very firm, as hard as a rock, and very masculine. You have completed the intimacy task, your romantic encounter with her. Lin Xia's favorability towards you has increased by 10. Current favorability is 85, you can receive the reward for this stage. Unlock new information bar. Name, Lin Xia. Age, 26. Body type, 171 centimeters tall, 53 kilograms, perfect peach butt. Overall appearance, 97 points. Favorability, 85, sweet love. Dating experience, 1. Current status, ZZZZZZ, sleepy. Sure enough, I was her first. Su Chen's mouth curled up slightly. Although he had had a hunch for a long time, he was secretly pleased when he saw the data displayed by the system. As a man, of course, he had a strong sense of ownership over his woman, unless it was just a momentary pleasure. However, Lin Shiya's first time did not result in any bloodstains. Could it be that she? Su Chen already had an answer and smiled knowingly. Then he began to check the favorability bonus. Your current favorability with Lin Shiya has reached 85, and you can receive the reward for this stage. Receive. Congratulations on receiving 5 million in cash. Congratulations on receiving a Mercedes-Maybach S680, top-of-the-line Ultimate Night Edition. It is parked at parking space 031 at the Bulgari Hotel. Holy cow! Is this really the reward for reaching the 80 favor level? Su Chen was so excited that he almost jumped out of bed. He reached up and the key to the Maybach S680 was in his hand. The Mercedes-Benz logo, the three-pointed star, was full of dignity and luxury. The Maybach S680 is Mercedes-Benz top-of-the-line business sedan. The price of a top-of-the-line model is around 5 million yuan. On his phone, he received a message that his bank card had been credited. Your account has received a transfer of 500 million yuan, with a remaining balance of 641,726,825 yuan. These two rewards add up to 10 million yuan. So cool. Su Chen looked at the car keys in his hand and suddenly remembered a saying. What a young man doesn't get will haunt him for the rest of his life. In the past, he really was haunted by money, confused about the future, and felt that he might lead a life of mediocrity. But now, the system has been activated. Money and luxury cars are within his grasp. He'll have to enjoy life to the fullest. Chapter 13 What's the point of a Maybach? After collecting his reward, Su Chen decided to take a nap first. It was nearing noon. Next to the bed, his phone rang. Su Chen lazily picked up the phone and answered. Hello. Who is this? Brother Chen, it's me. Yang Feng. Yang Feng's loud voice rang out. Oh? Yang, why are you calling me at this hour? Su Chen opened his sleepy eyes, propped himself up on his hands and sat up straight. Yang Feng, Su Chen's best friend, had been drinking with him the other night and ended up being punished for telling the truth, which almost caused a major disaster. Ha, of course I have plans. Why don't we go work out together later? Yang Feng laughed out loud, then complained, recently, my girlfriend keeps saying I'm fat and telling me to go to the gym. She says that her best friend's boyfriend is tall and strong, with six-pack abs, and that he makes me look bad when he takes me out. I think I'm just a little on the heavy side at most. I'm really getting sick of her nagging me about it. Well, that's just how women are. Su Chen could understand. After all, nowadays most girls want a car and a house, a dowry of several 100,000 yuan, and a height of 180 centimeters with six-pack abs, right? He also knew that Yang Feng liked this girlfriend very much, so naturally he was obedient to her. So, what do you say, Shin? Keep me company, I'm so bored working out alone. Yang Feng added, don't be afraid. You'll definitely benefit from hanging out with me. How about I get you a 6-month membership card? A 6-month card costs 3,000 to 4,000 yuan. Through the screen, Su Chen could imagine the way this guy winked at him in a mean way. Okay, since you've spoken, I'll go along with it. Great. Then let's meet at Ober Gym at 1:30 p.m. Okay. After hanging up the phone, the sun shone through the window. Su Chen squinted, stretched, and got up to get dressed. It's so nice not having to go to work. Bulgari Hotel, entrance. Next to the parking spaces. A group of passers-by are gathered around a black luxury car, taking pictures of it with excitement. They are talking excitedly. Wow, this Mercedes-Benz model is so cool. What model is it? It looks rare. Dude, you don't know much, do you? This is the legendary Mercedes-Maybach S680, the top-of-the-line business sedan. Holy shit. So this is a Maybach, no wonder it's so cool. This car must have cost a lot, right? At least a few million? At this time, a young man walked out of the crowd, pushed up his glasses, and said professionally. This Maybach S680 has taken luxury to the extreme. It is positioned higher than the ordinary Mercedes-Benz brand. It is equipped with a 60T twin-turbo V12 engine and a 7-speed manual transmission, with a top speed of up to 250 km per hour. If I'm not mistaken, this Maybach is the ultimate black edition, which is even more difficult to find these days. The starting price is around 5 million yuan. Those who can afford it are either very rich or very important people. When everyone heard this, they applauded in admiration. Weihai really has a lot of local tyrants. Awesome. After listening to your introduction, the class of this car has risen by another notch. You are worthy of the title of car expert. Su Chen had just walked over and heard them talking about this, so he couldn't help but ask curiously, "Brother, what do you do for a living? How do you know so much?" The young man in glasses smiled slightly and said with a commanding air, "I'm not very talented, but I'm currently a car salesman. I can say that I know everything about cars." Su Chen nodded approvingly. Indeed, professional matters should be left to professionals. But is this Maybach really as good as you say it is? Su Chen was still a little curious. The young man in glasses looked at him and his mouth gradually curled up. It seems this young man doesn't know anything. He smiled mysteriously and said, "Do you know the meaning of Maybach?" "No." Su Chen was taken aback and looked a little dazed. The young man in glasses shook his head and laughed, and began to give a passionate speech. Maybach is not the fastest car, but it can run out of Nürburgring and run past destiny. It is not just a car, but a symbol of your upward climb through the obstacles. When you have a girlfriend, you'll know that it's not your in-laws who are unfriendly, but that you don't have a Maybach. Young man, work hard. The climb may be long, but the view from the top is worth the effort. Don't be afraid if you're not good with words, the Maybach will speak for you. It's on fire. These words are so inspiring. Everyone's eyes are burning, and their blood is boiling. Fuck. I really want a Maybach. A symbol of wealth and status, a testament to overcoming all obstacles. Su Chen said thoughtfully, "I am indeed not good with words, but it seems that a Maybach suits me well." That's right. The bespectacled young man nodded with relief and laughed. "We'll start working hard from now on, and there's still a chance. Assuming we save 100,000 yuan a year, we can have our very own Maybach in just 20 years. Why does it have to take 20 years? Why can't we have it now?" Su Chen frowned and looked at him strangely. The bespectacled young man was dumbfounded and anxiously said, "I want to have it now too, but tell me, where is the money coming from? In this day and age, money is hard to earn, and shit is hard to eat, man." However, as soon as he finished speaking, he watched as Su Chen took out the key to the Maybach and pressed it lightly. Beep. The calm and domineering Maybach S680 flashed its dazzling headlights. Everyone was dumbfounded. "Damn, you're the big shot. We're still at the bottom of the mountain, but you've already reached the top? Why is there such a big gap between people? I'm not good with words either, why don't I have a Maybach?" I cried. "Others have it now, and I have to work hard for 20 years? The bespectacled young man couldn't help but swallow, and watched as Su Chen got into the Maybach and drove off. He suddenly felt so tired. He had thought that everyone was suffering. But the reality is, we are not the same. Chapter 14 Fitness Trainer, Goddess Qin Yufei. Su Chen drove the Maybach S680 through the streets of the bustling city of Weihai. It was cool and handsome. It attracted countless envious glances along the way. Even while waiting at the traffic lights, two long-legged beauties came up to him and asked for his WeChat ID. Unfortunately, they didn't meet Su Chen's standards in terms of appearance, so he politely declined. 1 p.m. Ober Fitness Club. This is one of the most high-end gyms in Weihai, with some of the world's most advanced equipment and construction materials, and naturally, the prices are quite high. Many fitness enthusiasts are immersed in their workouts, burning their calories in a great atmosphere. As I look around, I see big, strong men pumping iron and hot young women in yoga pants running on the treadmills. They twist their waists and shake their hips, which is a real feast for the eyes. It's a man's paradise. Su Chen looks around casually, preparing to find a place to sit down in the lounge area. A charming young woman says hello sweetly. "Hey, handsome, working out together?" Su Chen raises his head and a message box appears. Name, Lu Lun. Age, 34. Body type, 166 centimeters tall. Overall appearance, 74 points. Likability, 55. Dating experience, 17 people, 999 plus. Current status, I really want to fall in love, but the more I think about it, the harder it is to bear. Su Chen couldn't help but gasp. Oh my god. This dating experience is a bit too rich, isn't it? I'm waiting for someone, sorry. Su Chen smiled and declined. The charming young woman gave an awkward smile and turned away with some regret. Su Chen was just about to sit down and play with his phone when he noticed a beautiful fitness girl with long legs smiling and walking towards him. She was tall, wearing a small sports tank top, and her proud fullness was obvious. Her long legs were beautifully outlined in tight yoga pants, with a narrow waist and a sweet butt, showing off her S-shaped figure. This kind of perfect figure can easily make a person feel primal desires. She has a high ponytail and a healthy wheat complexion, which makes her look very capable and full of wildness, the standard of a sporty beauty. Name, Xin Yufei. Age, 22 years old. Body, 170 centimeters tall, perfect body. Overall appearance, 95 points. Likability, 35. Relationship experience, 0 people. Current status, I want a sugar daddy to let me make a few sales. Looking forward to it. Su Chen's eyes lit up. This 95-point beauty with perfect looks has 0 dating experience? That's rare. Xin Yufei smiled and said, Sir, I'm Xin Yufei, the fitness trainer here. Is this your first time at our Rebirth bar? She saw Su Chen's handsome image and extraordinary temperament, plus the Maybach car keys in his hand, and realized that he was a rich young master. She attached great importance to customers with this kind of spending power. Su Chen nodded lightly. Xin Yufei's eyes twinkled as she invited hopefully, if you don't mind, would you let me show you around the gym and chat with you for a while? 1. Chat. Don't you just want to sell classes? Just say it, if I buy you for a night, how much is it? 2. What's there to see in the gym, just some broken iron? Not interested. 3. Sure, I'm also interested in fitness and would like to learn more. As soon as these 3 options were presented, Su Chen, without much thought, said lightly, Sure, I've been quite interested in fitness lately, and I'd like to find out more as well. Ah. That's really great. Xin Yufei saw that there was a chance, and excitedly clapped her hands. The two of them walked into the gym together, talking and chatting. Xin Yufei enthusiastically introduced, Our Rebirth gym has a history of 15 years and is one of the top and most well-known gyms in Weihai. Most of these machines were imported from abroad and are very expensive. There is also a heated swimming pool, high-end shower rooms, yoga rooms, and so on. Every day, many beautiful young ladies come to our gym to work out. With your handsome appearance, you can easily make many friends. She introduced them as if they were family treasures, and indeed some of the places were very attractive. Moreover, every coach here is very professional and responsible. Hey, don't let my young appearance fool you, I've got Pilates certification, yoga certification, and a level 2 nutritionist certificate, so you can definitely trust me. Her smile was confident and beautiful, and it was obvious that she was proud of all of these achievements. Ding! Xin Yufei's favorability with you has increased by +5. Su Chen didn't really understand. But it did sound impressive. And it even increased her favorability, which was very pleasing. Xin Yufei got more and more excited as she spoke, and asked with a smile, Sir, what do you think fitness is like in your impression? Su Chen thought for a moment, and said, I think it's about strengthening the body, right? Xin Yufei nodded with satisfaction and said, to put it simply, that's true. But the benefits of fitness go beyond that. When our bodies exercise, they release endorphins, which are happy hormones that can relieve stress and reduce negative emotions such as depression and anxiety. What's more, fitness can also make you self-disciplined and strengthen your will. It can elevate your entire being, inside and out. After hearing this, Su Chen suddenly had an epiphany. No wonder, when he and Lin Shuya exercised vigorously, the two of them indulged themselves. It turned out to be the happy hormone produced during exercise. Well, that makes sense. Seeing this, Xin Yufei took advantage of the situation to sell. I think at this stage, it would be especially suitable for you to apply for a membership card. There is a recent event where the annual card only costs 8,800, and the quarterly card is even cheaper, only 2,800 yuan. Of course, if you want faster results, you can have a personal trainer for one-on-one training, and that will be even more effective. She looked expectantly at Su Chen, waiting for the latter's answer. Chapter 15 Be Her Sugar Daddy. 1. I don't come to the gym often, so just give me a quarterly card. 2. How about if you call me daddy, I'll get you an annual card. 3. I don't go to the gym often, so I probably need a personal trainer more. I think you're quite professional. Su Chen was in deep thought. Options 1 and 3 seemed very reasonable. But on second thought, would it be too petty to just get a quarterly card? Or should it be a bit more straightforward? Xin Yufei is a 95-point beautiful woman from the sports department, with a great face and figure. In particular, her plumpness is bursting out, and her perky peach butt, angelic face, and S-shaped perfect body are irresistible to any man. Shouldn't she take him seriously? She made up her mind. Suchen smiled faintly. I'm usually very busy and can't come to the gym often. So it seems I need a personal fitness trainer. Just now, I heard you say so much and think you're quite professional. You shouldn't let me down, right? Xin Yufei froze slightly. She always feels like her professionalism is being challenged, which stirs her desire to perform even more. With your situation of not coming to the gym often, a personal trainer is indeed more suitable. My one-on-one personal training session costs 1,200 yuan per session, with a minimum of 120 minutes of service. I will customize a fitness plan for you, formulate a nutrition package, and solve all your fitness-related problems. If you are willing to choose me, please also trust in my professional abilities, and you will definitely be assured. This gym does indeed have higher prices than the average gym. 2 hours costs 1,200 yuan. This kind of spending is simply unaffordable for the average person. But for Suchen right now, that's nothing. His main goal is not to get fit. Suchen said lightly, then let's start with a few sessions to try it out. If you feel good about it afterwards, you can continue to add more. Xin Yufei nodded in agreement, looking forward to it, and said, so how many sessions are you going to take? Suchen didn't say anything, and held up one finger. 1 session? Xin Yufei was a little disappointed and pouted, okay, 1 session is fine. After all, I haven't shown my professionalism yet. However, Suchen's leisurely voice soon sounded. I said 100 sessions. What? Xin Yufei was stunned, her eyes wide open. The patron saint has really come? Service reception. Xin Yufei's favorability with you plus 10, current favorability 50. Just 10 points short, and you can collect your reward. Efficient. Suchen gave a faint smile and closed the system with satisfaction. Xin Yufei patted the little girl at the reception on the shoulder and said brightly with a smile, help this gentleman apply for a gym membership and then purchase 100 sets of my one-on-one personal training sessions. The little girl was shocked and blurted out, Sister Yufei, didn't you never take lessons from male students before? Xin Yufei instantly covered her mouth, her cold eyes almost killing her. Then she looked back, smiled awkwardly but politely, and explained. Mr. Su, although all my previous personal training was with female students, there is essentially no big difference between the two. Please trust my professional ability. Upon hearing this, Suchen was dumbfounded. Good grief! This Xin Yufei has never even instructed a private lesson to a male student. Could it be that he is her first male student? This is especially like something she would like. Seeing him silent, Xin Yufei became even more anxious and pouted, Mr. Su, please give me a chance. If you're not confident, you can consider taking 1 lesson. After you see my professional skills, if you're not satisfied, you can consider changing. Do you think that's okay? She had indeed only taken private lessons from women before, because she felt that the way those men looked at her was full of lust and their intentions were impure. She had also been struggling with her performance because of this, and had been very distressed recently. But today, Suchen made her feel very comfortable and at ease. What's more, Suchen was very generous and directly asked to buy 100 private lessons. A total of 120,000 soft RMB. According to their 65% commission, she can get 78,000 renminbi. Who wouldn't be tempted by so much money? 1. I came here to work out, not to be blindly guided. Turns around and leaves. 2. Then buy a session and let's see your professionalism. Agrees to her proposal. 3. I'm not the type to go back on my word, so let's stick to what we agreed on. Not fussy about details. Suchen's face remains calm, and he smiles faintly. I'm not the type to go back on my word, so let's stick to what we agreed on. Great. Thank you, Mr. Su. Xin Yufei is so excited that tears are about to fall. She was really very happy. Handsome, rich guys like Suchen, who are also particularly easygoing, are like gold-digging daddies that you can't find even if you look for them with a lantern. If she let go, those female coaches would definitely come and fight for him. No one knows better than her the craziness and hunger of those women. Xin Yufei's likability with U plus 5, current likability 55. Su Chen gave a slight smile. With the system, falling in love was simply a breeze. So cool. Suddenly, his expression froze, and his brows furrowed slightly. He noticed that the little girl at the front desk seemed to be frowning. Name, Changyi. Age, 20. Looks, 84 points. Current status, jealous. Jealous. Cursing. She's a white lotus, what was she pretending to be innocent for? Why is she so lucky to have such a handsome sugar daddy? Seeing this, Su Chen understood. It turned out that Changyi had just let slip of the truth on purpose, just to make Qin Yufei's order disappear. The jealousy of a woman's heart is terrifying. However, Qin Yufei was still immersed in the joy of placing the order and hadn't noticed any of this. Changyi asked sweetly, "Young man, the Platinum VIP fitness card has been processed for you. You will be spending 120,000 yuan, so how much would you like to deposit now? Let's start with a small 300,000 yuan. You can't spend that much all at once." Su Chen handed over his bank card with a calm expression. Qin Yufei and Changyi were once again stunned. My goodness! A small 300,000 yuan? Listen to yourself. Do you really sound like a human being? You're so arrogant and overbearing. Changyi blushed and her heart raced as she helped Su Chen swipe his card. As the password was entered, there was a beep, and the receipt rolled out of the POS machine. Wow! Qin Yufei's shocked mouth opened wide, and she covered her hot cheeks with her hands. Did she save the galaxy in her past life? Is that why she's so lucky now? Usually, there are indeed many high-end people who come to spend money at their gym. It's relatively common to see people recharge 20 to 30,000 yuan at a time, but it's relatively rare to see a member recharge 100,000 yuan at a time. Not to mention someone like Su Chen, who just waved his hand and paid 300,000 yuan. And he was so calm about it. Just how rich is he? Young man, this is your platinum membership card, along with your bank card and the receipt. The balance is 180,000 yuan. Please keep it safe. Changyi's voice was sweet as she handed over the things in both hands, her attitude very respectful. Su Chen took it with a faint smile. It's true that this little green tea can put on a good act. At least on the surface, he really couldn't tell that Changyi originally held such hostility towards Qin Yufei. Qin Yufei's pretty face flushed slightly as she respectfully said, Mr. Su, shall we begin the first lesson now? To be honest, she was a little nervous. After all, she had never taught a male student before. And still such a rich daddy. Let's begin. Su Chen noticed that his favorability with Qin Yufei was still 5 points short of being able to receive a reward, so he had to strike while the iron was hot. Chapter 16 With a body like that, you don't need to work out? Inside the private gym. Qin Yufei is holding a small notebook and looking very serious. Now, I need to understand the basic situation of your body so that I can tailor a fitness plan for you. If she wore black-rimmed glasses, she would really look like a teacher. Su Chen is a little curious. Oh, what do you want me to do? Qin Yufei's pretty face flushed slightly as she handed him a brand new pair of sports shorts. You can take off your shirt and just wear these shorts. I want to see what shape you are in. Su Chen silently took the shorts. Qin Yufei turned around very consciously. Su Chen was very quick. In less than a minute, he had already changed into the sports shorts and was standing on the measuring device with his shirt off. Okay. Hearing the man's voice behind her, Qin Yufei turned around. When she saw Su Chen standing on the measuring device, her eyes widened. 8-pack abs, a 6-pack, and well-developed tendons. The lines of muscles on his body, illuminated by the cool indoor light, were simply perfect. He was full of masculinity. You. Qin Yufei's breathing quickened. She blinked hard to make sure it wasn't an illusion. How did you get such a great body? Does it need to be worked out? Qin Yufei was dumbfounded. She extended her soft hand to touch the man's tan skin and feel every inch of his muscles. The sense of power it gave her. She imagined that she would be able to find a flaw in him. But the more she got to know him, the more shocked she became. Because Su Chen's muscles, in her professional opinion, could only be described in 2 words, perfect. And they were also her favorite type. Qin Yufei suppressed her excitement and said calmly, turn around and let me see your back. Then, do the pose of a strong man, and let me take a look. Su Chen was confused and asked, how? You don't know? Xin Yufei's eyes twinkled, and she gave him a brief demonstration. Su Chen lifted his hands and did the pose of a strongman. A slight movement of strength came from his body, and the extremely beautiful muscle lines were instantly revealed. Xin Yufei's mouth opened wide, and she curiously touched his back. And exclaimed in admiration. My goodness! Your inverted triangle muscles on your back are really perfect. How on earth did you manage to achieve this? How many years have you been training for this? She looked at Su Chen suspiciously and interrogated him. Su Chen said seriously, I do exercise at home normally, doing things like push-ups and squats. To speak of systematic training, I really haven't. No way. Xin Yufei felt incredible. Can exercising at home achieve this effect? That would mean that you have a very natural talent for fitness. Or, you just happen to find the most suitable fitness method for you. That being said, her mind was a complete mess at the moment. Because Su Chen's figure was just too perfect, and this had interrupted all her original plans. She didn't know where to start. At that moment, Su Chen's expression changed, and she began to speak slowly. I don't know. But I've been exercising recently, and I always feel sore all over. I think there must be something wrong with my training methods. Especially my abs, I always feel a painful feeling of being torn, so I came to the gym to ask a trainer. At this, Xin Yufei's beautiful eyes once again shone with light. I understand. She looked as if she had suddenly understood, and analyzed seriously. You do have a high talent for fitness. But you don't know how to control it properly, so you're putting a serious strain on your muscles, which is why you're experiencing these side effects. Where does it hurt? Let me have a look. She looked at Su Chen with concern, and suddenly felt full of energy again. Because if that was the case, then her presence would be very necessary. She could help Su Chen find the best way to exercise. Su Chen looked harmless, and pointed to his abdomen, saying, This is the area. Oh. Xin Yufei thoughtfully placed her small hand on his abdomen and pressed her finger, inquiring, Is this the spot? Su Chen confirmed. Xin Yufei lowered her head and began to massage Su Chen's abdomen with gentle techniques. She rubbed it back and forth. While doing so, she also explained, gently rubbing it like I am can relieve your muscle soreness. Doesn't it feel better? And this technique is also very simple, you can watch and learn while I do it. Feeling the soft touch of her small hands, as well as the fullness and beauty of her breasts, which were about to burst out from this angle, and then gently swaying. Su Chen experienced the ultimate pleasure both tactilely and visually. It was so comfortable. Suddenly, Xin Yufei stopped moving and asked with a smile on her face, Mr. Su, you really aren't playing a joke on me, are you? In fact, are you some fitness guru or fitness blogger or something, here to deliberately play a joke on me for fun? Su Chen was stunned and couldn't help but laugh. Do you think I'm that boring? No, I was just thinking too much. Xin Yufei's face turned slightly red, and she felt a little presumptuous. She could tell that Su Chen was really unfamiliar with fitness, and that he didn't even know what the strongman pose was. This was not at all like an act. Besides, who would spend 300,000 yuan just to play house with her? At that moment, a cell phone rang. Su Chen didn't even need to think about it to know that it was that guy Yang phone calling. He picked up the phone on the table and answered the call. Lao Yang, have you arrived yet? Oh, we'll be right out. Chapter 17 Brother Chen, you're my godfather. Su Chen and Xin Yufei walked directly towards the lounge area. A young man with a simple appearance and a stocky build was looking around curiously. His eyes lit up the moment he saw Su Chen. Hey, Brother Chen. Yang Feng ran over excitedly, laughing, You're here so early, I almost thought I was late. Hey, who is this beautiful woman? Could she be your wife? He looked at Xin Yufei, who was indeed a super beauty, and had to give his buddy a helping hand. He then patted Su Chen on the shoulder. Brother Chen, you're not being a good friend, not even telling me when you get a girlfriend? Then he gave Su Chen a knowing look. After this, Su Chen was suddenly dumbfounded. Xin Yufei explained, I am Mr. Su's personal trainer, Xin Yufei. Hello. Personal trainer? Oh, hello. Yang Feng nodded to say hello. He also sensed something was wrong and immediately pulled Su Chen to an unoccupied corner. The two brothers spoke in whispers. Hey, I'm talking to you, Brother Chen. Didn't we agree today that I would buy you a 6-month membership? Why did you call your personal trainer first? Do you really like a certain girl and are spending so much money to woo her? Young Feng usually seems carefree, but in fact he is not stupid at all. Su Chen shook his head and laughed, chasing after her. I do have such plans. But the main problem is that I'm rich now. What? Yang Feng was shocked and suddenly became a little excited. Su Chen said seriously, some time ago, didn't I talk to you about that thing in the coin circle? I invested 30,000 in it, and guess what? It has turned over 500 times. The coin circle is an incredibly crazy circle, and Su Chen has been learning about it for a long time. There are many people who rely on this stuff and, if they seize the right opportunity, can become overnight millionaires, worth tens or even hundreds of millions. Damn! Brother Chen, you are a true business genius. Yang Feng was excited. 30,000 turned over 500 times, that's 15 million. He patted Chen on the shoulder, genuinely happy for him, and then asked, but Chen, when are you going to quit? Didn't you say that this stuff is extremely risky? Su Chen nodded slightly and said lightly, yes, that's why I'm going to keep playing with a little money and invest the rest in some businesses. When you have money, you must never get carried away and must remain rational. Awesome. Yang Feng was shocked inside and admired him to the core. He couldn't help but sigh, if only I were half as smart as you, Brother Chen. In his opinion, it was really rare to find someone who could remain calm like Su Chen despite having so much money. At least, he couldn't do it. Moreover, in his impression, Su Chen has demonstrated a kind of leadership since childhood, and people willingly follow him around. Su Chen also patted his shoulder and laughed lightly. Let's go, today I'll first take you to enjoy the services of the gym. Brother? Yang Feng shook his head and said seriously, no, now Brother Chen, you are my godfather. Are you messing with me? Su Chen shook his head and couldn't help but laugh. After the two men finished chatting, they returned. Qin Yufei was still standing obediently, waiting with a beautiful smile on her face and a respectful attitude. Su Chen said lightly, Coach Yufei, introduce a good coach to my friend, and then get a yearly card and buy 50 sessions to try it out. Upon hearing this, Qin Yufei's eyes flashed with surprise, and she said, of course, Mr. Su, please wait a moment. She picked up her phone and dialed, but there was no answer. I guess the other person is working out. So, Qin Yufei exchanged a few words with Su Chen and got up to go find someone in another fitness area. Yang Feng was a little curious and asked, Brother Chen, I know about the annual card, 8,800 yuan a year. What do you mean by 50 lessons? How much does it cost? Su Chen looked calm. Don't you want to work out? I'll find you a personal trainer. It's not expensive. 50 lessons might cost 60,000 yuan. 60,000? Yang Fengyao was dumbfounded. His boss had spent 60,000 yuan on a personal trainer, which was downright outrageous. It really did prove the saying, when one person achieves success, all their friends and family rise in the world together. He excitedly patted his chest and said, Boss Chen, I'm willing to be your watchdog in the future. Whoever dares to mess with you, I'll bite them. Su Chen, I'll take 1/6. The other side. Qin Yufei strode along with her long legs, searching quickly. Finally, she saw a short-haired beauty in the bench press area, doing bench presses on the equipment. And Qing, stop exercising, stop exercising. Hurry up and get to work. Qin Yufei waved her hand anxiously, urging her on. She was just waiting to whip her with a small whip. The fitness trainer named Qing looked confused. What's wrong? I'm just finishing up. Qin Yufei excitedly recounted, I've had super luck today, meeting a really nice sugar daddy who was super generous and... Super generous. And let me tell you, he's handsome and has a great body. It's like he doesn't even need to work out, it's just natural. No. Qin Yufei's pretty face turned slightly red. How could someone so outstanding possibly fancy a little trainer like me? Oh dear, let's go over there first, we have a big order. She took in Qing's hand and, on the way back, gave her a general description of what had happened today. And Qing's eyes widened in amazement. Wow. Yufei, you're so lucky. How did you meet such a wonderful sugar daddy? Could that be the reason why you've stayed single all this time? She couldn't help teasing, then glanced at Qin Yufei's perfect figure. Qin Yufei is very beautiful, has a perfect figure, and is pursued by many men, but she has very high standards and has never found anyone she likes. And Qing is sometimes curious about what kind of man her best friend Qin Yufei likes. Little and Qing, are you itching again? Qin Yufei blushed with embarrassment, her cheeks flaming red, and threatened with a little fist, Humph, you dare to flirt with me, watch out I'll punch you. I won't let you take this order. And Cheng immediately conceded, don't, young master, being single is good, long live being single. A moment later, Qin Yufei returned with Cheng and walked up to Su Chen and the others. Mr. Su, this is Cheng, the coach. She has a lot of coaching experience and is very professional. She should be able to give your friend a pleasant fitness experience. Hello, Mr. Su. And Cheng extended her hand graciously and shook hands with Su Chen first. She then realized that Qin Yufei had not been exaggerating, and Su Chen was indeed very handsome. Then, she turned her attention to Yang Feng and respectfully said, Sir, what is your name? Yang Feng cleared his throat and said firmly, My name is Yang Feng. Having Su Chen by his side gave him full confidence. He could not afford to be weak. After the group had briefly got acquainted, the matter was happily settled. Under the guidance of Coach Cheng, Yang Feng will be assigned a personal fitness coach. Yang Feng is overjoyed, and secretly gives Su Chen a thumbs up and praise. Although Cheng is not as pretty as Qin Yufei, she is still rated 83 points by the system, and she has a very attractive figure, definitely a beautiful woman. So, with such a beautiful woman as Yang Feng's fitness coach, how can he not be highly motivated? Chapter 18 It seems like I've been set up, but I have no proof. They split into two groups and began their workout plans for the day. In the private gym, Qin Yufei quickly got into work mode and tested some basic data about Su Chen's body. Su Chen, height 18-24 centimeters, weight 757 kilograms, body fat percentage 10%. After Qin Yufei finished, she was silent for a long time. She really doubted life a little. Because she had seen so many people at the gym, tall, short, thin, and fat, but this was the first time she had seen someone with such a perfect body as Su Chen's. Whether it was the body measurements, muscle dimensions, or the proportions of the various data, they were all perfect. Anyway, in her opinion, Su Chen, without a doubt, had the standard male god body. However, with such a perfect body, Su Chen actually said that he had just exercised casually? Seeing that she hadn't said anything for a long time, Su Chen suppressed a smile and asked, Coach Yufei, what's wrong? I heard that nowadays people like to be a little thinner. Do you think I'll look better if I lose a little weight? This time, Qin Yufei was really anxious and quickly stopped him. No. Stop your stupid ideas. Our fitness is based on health, and we reject the aesthetic of being young and thin. Your current body shape is perfect. All you need to do is maintain it. Oh. Su Chen nodded honestly. She was clearly scolded by her, but she always felt very happy. What's going on? Qin Yufei finally put down the data table and said seriously, I've thought about it carefully, and I think there are two possibilities for the feeling of tearing muscles you mentioned being caused by exercise. The first is overexercising. The second is that it may be due to your long-term incorrect training posture, which has brought you adverse consequences. Yes. You're absolutely right. Although Su Chen normally doesn't work out at all, he listened very carefully at this moment and nodded frequently. The emotional value can be said to be fully engaged with the other person. Qin Yufei finally revealed a beautiful smile and said, So, now you do a squat, and I'll see how you normally do it. Squat. Su Chen frowned. Ha? What's wrong? Qin Yufei was a little strange. I remember you saying that you can do it. 1. I really can, so I'll do it now. Honest and obedient. 2. If you tell me to do it, I'll do it, but won't that make me lose face? Unless you beg me. Arrogant. It's fine to do it, but it's no fun doing it alone. By the way, I saw someone on the internet hugging their girlfriend and challenging themselves to do weighted squats. I'd like to challenge myself to that too. Invite her to challenge themselves to princess carry squats. The first two options don't seem very reliable. As for the third option? Are you sure you want to go this far? Holding her while doing squats? Su Chen cleared his throat and said seriously, It's possible, but it's not very interesting for me to do it alone. By the way, I saw someone on the internet holding their girlfriend while doing weighted squats, and it seemed quite interesting. So, Coach Yufei, I'd like to try it too. Ha? Qin Yufei suddenly felt confused, and her face turned red. So, what you mean is that you want me to cooperate with you? Yes, is there any other girl here besides you? I'm just curious, I want to experience the fun of working out, otherwise it's so boring. Right? Su Chen looked like he was ready to quit at any moment. And Qin Yufei suddenly felt a little panicked. This is the main sponsor, you can't let him get upset. However, weighted squats require a lot of arm strength, and the average person probably can't do many of them. Are you sure you want to try? Xin Yufei was still clinging to her last stubborn hope that Su Chen would change her mind. After all, as a fitness coach, she was doing a princess carry squat with her student. That was a bit too intimate, wasn't it? On hearing this, Su Chen was even more determined. Well, it's just perfect. You can test my arm strength and then check my squat movements. Isn't that killing two birds with one stone? Xin Yufei? Her clever little head suddenly went offline for a moment. It always feels like she's walking into some kind of trap. Before she could react, Su Chen naturally made a princess carry gesture and said, Coach Yufei, come on up. I don't want to train in the wrong position anymore, it will cause huge damage to my body. We still have so many classes after this. Xin Yufei's pretty face had turned red long ago. But she really couldn't find a reason to refuse. It was she who had suggested correcting the wrong training posture, and now she could demonstrate it for you, but you said no? Moreover, it was the first class of the day. If she just threw a fit and refused, how should the follow-up proceed? What if she got a complaint? Then come on. Xin Yufei's face was about to drip with embarrassment, and her voice was as small as a mosquito's. Su Chen crossed his arms and picked Xin Yufei up in his arms. Feeling the extremely soft and elastic touch in his large hands, Su Chen's heart was simply overjoyed. Xin Yufei's figure was simply explosive. But there was still no change on Su Chen's face. He looked at Xin Yufei in his arms and said indifferently, Coach Yufei, I'll begin then. He began the squat exercise. Squat. Stand up. One down. Su Chen's face was full of concentration on his training, and the sound of his heavy breathing could be heard. Xin Yufei could feel the man's hot masculine breath, and her face had already become extremely hot. She lifted her eyes and looked at Su Chen so closely, she really thought he was super handsome. Moreover, Su Chen's strength was so good. It felt like he had done several squats, but he didn't look tired at all. For a moment, she was in a daze. But the next second, Xin Yufei had calmed down. She turned her head to see Su Chen's movements, but found her view blocked, and she couldn't see at all. Instead, she herself was exposed, with all the curves of her body on full display. Xin Yufei blushed with shame, and in a sweet voice, she said, Stop. Okay. Su Chen put her down on the ground, looking innocent, and said, Coach Yufei, what's wrong? Xin Yufei was silent for a moment, feeling both ashamed and amused. She said, It was your stupid idea. How was I supposed to see your movements like that? She was a little suspicious that she might have been set up, but she couldn't find any evidence. Ha! Su Chen slapped his head. We forgot to take a video. We should have recorded it. Then you would have seen it, wouldn't you? You. Xin Yufei was so ashamed that she really wanted to find a hole to crawl into. If she really recorded the video and saw that scene herself, what would it be like? She was a fitness trainer and she was blatantly hugging a handsome male student? How could that be? But there didn't seem to be anything wrong with what Su Chen said. That was the most terrifying thing of all. Xin Yufei hadn't exercised, but suddenly she felt so tired. She said, Mr. Su, am I heavy? Ugh. No. She was so angry that she was a little delirious and really wanted to slap herself. How could a fitness coach ask such a thing? This is a lack of confidence in her own figure. Su Chen said seriously, No, it's not heavy. It's just right, it's perfect. When Xin Yufei heard this, a smile immediately appeared on her face, and the anger she had just felt disappeared. Women, after all, like to be praised. Feeling so good. I'm a coach after all, how could it not be good? Xin Yufei was a little smug, but her pretty face had already turned red with shame. Ding! Xin Yufei's favorability with U+4, current favorability 59. Su Chen's mouth corners rose slightly. It's rising quite quickly, I wonder what kind of reward I can get. Chapter 19 Divine Assistance, favorability rating increased. After subsequent tests, Xin Yufei has a general idea of Su Chen's physical condition. Su Chen's physique is without any problems, and it can even be said to be perfect. Whether it is strength, stamina, speed, or other physical data, it has exceeded her expectations and surprised her. After all, just now, Su Chen held her and did multiple squats in a row. Of course, Su Chen was actually still conserving his strength, otherwise if he had exerted his full strength, it would have alarmed the entire fitness community. There was another thing that Qin Yufei found very surprising. Su Chen's fitness movements were very unstandardized, and he was completely a novice. She had also suspected that Su Chen was a fitness guru who was deliberately pretending to be cute and new to tease her. However, Qin Yufei had already dispelled her doubts during the test. So, Su Chen's ability to train to the current state of his body can only be attributed to one reason. Su Chen's fitness talent is particularly extraordinary, belonging to the kind that is chosen from among hundreds of millions. To put it in internet terms, Su Chen has the holy body for fitness. After reaching a conclusion, Qin Yufei began to rework Su Chen's fitness plan, then correct his fitness movements, and finally customize a diet plan to guide some of his eating habits. 2 hours later. The training is over. The two beautiful coaches together see off Su Chen to the door of the gym. Qin Yufei smiles and says, "Mr. Su, you are usually busy and can't come to the gym. If you need fitness guidance or sparring partners, you can contact me." Her patron, Su Chen, has bought 100 private coaching sessions. Of course, she is obliged to provide personal coaching at home, on call whenever he needs it. Well, that's all for today. Su Chen gave a faint smile and left with Yang Feng, who was already exhausted. "Mr. Su, Mr. Yang, please take your time." Qin Yufei and Enqing smiled, slightly bowing to see them off. The attitude and service had to be spot on. It wasn't until they had gone far away that the two women straightened up. They glanced at each other, their faces full of excitement. "Yufei, I really love you to death." Enqing hugged her best friend and said excitedly, "I'll get a commission of more than 40,000 yuan for this order. I'll treat you to a big meal when I have time." What's today's date? Let me see. Qin Yufei glanced at her phone and silently wrote down today's date. Enqing took Qin Yufei's arm and smiled with envy. "Yufei, you're so lucky. You even got such a young and handsome client as Mr. Su. By the way, didn't you say that he has a great body? I don't believe it. Can I see? Put. You little flirt. You don't believe it?" Qin Yufei took out her phone and showed off the photos of Su Chen's body, smiling and saying, "Look, isn't it the perfect body of a god? Are you jealous? You little flirt." Sigh. And Chang was stunned, her eyes wide open. "Mr. Su, this body is just perfect, I love it. I'd be willing to be his personal trainer for free." She looked like a lovesick schoolgirl, then she asked doubtfully, "But if he's in such good shape, why does he need you as a personal trainer? That doesn't make sense." Qin Yufei nodded. "I had the same thought at first. But then I realized that the way he looks now is entirely the result of blind practice. He's just relying on his natural physical talent to get by. If he were an ordinary person, his body would have collapsed long ago. So, he's looking for me to maintain and preserve his body. See?" She smiled confidently, revealing all her thoughts. "Then your job is too easy." And Shang was envious and said, "For example, that you are equivalent to maintaining a Ferrari, while the Mr. Yang I am coaching needs to convert a bicycle into a Lamborghini. This is a major project." As she spoke, she glanced at me and jokingly said, "Why don't we switch? You let me coach Mr. Su for a few days?" Qin Yufei was unhappy at once, and she pushed in Cheng directly, laughing and scolding, "Go to hell." Seeing her so protective of her food, and Cheng laughed happily. "I'm just kidding." She waved her hand and asked curiously, "So, while you were mentoring Mr. Su, did anything intimate happen? Mr. Su is so handsome and rich, and he should be right up your alley, so didn't you get tempted? You have to seize the opportunity. There aren't many good men in the world." Hearing this, Qin Yufei's pretty face couldn't help but turn red. She remembered the scene of being picked up by Su Chen and doing squats, which made her blush and her heart race. "Humph, no, you're just nosy." Qin Yufei shyly turned her head away and ignored her. As someone who has been there, and Qin could tell that there was a chance. If Qin Yufei could find such an outstanding boyfriend as Su Chen, then wouldn't she, as a best friend, benefit from it as well? Outback Gym, downstairs. Congratulations, host, for receiving a kind assist from Enchang. Ding. Qin Yufei's favorability towards you +2, current favorability 61. Su Chen's eyes lit up, it was a pleasant surprise. Unexpectedly, that beautiful trainer Enqing actually gave him a boost, increasing his favorability with Qin Yufei by 2 points. This is great. The money was well spent. Brother Chen, you have such good stamina. You don't even breathe heavily. Yang Feng was exhausted and his back and legs ached. He sighed, I'm already tired as a dog. This kind of fitness is really not something that ordinary people can persevere with. Su Chen glanced at him and said, didn't you say you wanted to work out quietly and then surprise your girlfriend? Yang Feng nodded and laughed, that's true. I have to impress her, so that she won't dare to call me fat anymore. And, since you bought me so many classes, I can't waste them. Su Chen smiled. This kid, he's still the same. And, thanks to him, that night, I plucked up the courage to confess to Lin Shuya. Let's go, you still have to go to work this afternoon, right? I'll give you a ride. Su Chen patted him on the shoulder. Yang Feng's eyes widened in surprise, Brother Chen, you've already bought a car? Yes, isn't it over there? Su Chen looked at the Maybach not far away with a carefree expression on his face, and then pressed the car key in his hand. To do. The calm and domineering Maybach S680, like a beast awakening, flashed its diamond-like headlights. Oh my god. Benz. Yang Feng was shocked. He ran over to it, beaming, and ran his hands over the dark, shiny body of the Maybach S680, his face full of excitement. He couldn't put it down. Suddenly, Yang Feng's gaze froze. Ha! There's a V12 logo on this car? This doesn't seem to be an ordinary Benz. Could it be? Yang Feng seemed to have thought of something, and immediately ran to the back of the car. He was even more shocked. Because he saw the Maybach logo, and those characters that represented luxury. S680. Holy shit! This is actually a Maybach S680. Today, I finally saw the real thing. Nyobi Pula, Chenggu. Yang Feng was so excited that he directly gave Su Chen a thumbs up. Chapter 20 is the relationship exposed? The game company. The calm and handsome Maybach S680 stopped steadily. Leaving, Brother Chen. Yang Feng got out of the car and waved goodbye to Su Chen before walking into the company. Feeling the envious stares around him, he felt as if he was walking with the wind. His aura was a little different. Inside the Maybach. Qin Yufei's favorability rating with you has reached 61 points. You can receive the reward for this stage. Do you wish to receive it now? Receive it. Su Chen silently repeated in his heart and directly chose to receive it. Ding. Congratulations on receiving your reward, a 10 million yuan cashback card. Your spending will be given a random percentage of 2 to 5 times cashback. Limit, 10 million yuan. Expiration date, 7 days. Holy cow! 10 million yuan? Su Chen was thrilled. This cashback card had a cashback limit of 10 million yuan. In other words, as long as he spent 10 million yuan within 7 days, he could maximize his earnings. But I don't even have 10 million yuan in my bank account right now. Su Chen suddenly felt confused. It was true that he only had 6 million yuan in his bank account at the moment. But the next moment, he gave himself a hard slap on the forehead. Shit, that was a bit stupid. I don't have 10 million, but I can step on my right foot with my left. I can spend some money first, then use the cashback to spend some more, right? I'm a genius. Su Chen was pleased with himself, and already had a plan in mind. Suddenly, the system popped up another prompt. Ding! A likability task has been posted. Goddess, Lin Shuya. Task, the first cup of milk tea in autumn. Girls in love pay attention to the feelings in the details. They like to be missed and to be held in the palm of one's hand. Use your practical actions to warm her heart throughout the autumn. Ha! Su Chen was a little taken aback. It seems to be true. Most girls do care about the details. They don't say it, but they want men to take the initiative and like to make men guess their thoughts. If they can't guess it, they will sulk. So some guys will feel that their girlfriends are angry for no reason. Shuya gave herself to me last night, and I even let her take her medicine. I really should show her some small amount of care. Su Chen blushed at the thought. But if he presumptuously went and brought Lin Shuya a cup of milk tea alone, it would attract the attention of so many employees in the company, which would obviously not be good. Their relationship was confidential. Su Chen thought carefully, and an idea came to mind. It should work. He stepped on the accelerator and the Maybach S680 sped away. Tea. Thousands of ways to drink tea. Su Chen walked straight to the front desk and asked lightly, Beauty, what's the best drink here? The pretty waitress's face flushed instantly when she saw the handsome Su Chen in the sunlight. It was like the feeling of first love. This fairy happily mentioned the lemon tea, the colorful fruit tea, and several other drinks that she introduced as the more popular ones in the store. Su Chen understood and said, "Okay, then give me 5 of each of those, and if there are any large cups, just give me those. Then, ask a delivery boy to come with me and I'll give him a tip." "Okay, sir. That'll be 35 cups, 710 yuan. The pretty girl said with a smile. Su Chen scanned the QR code to pay. Ding! The host has spent 710 yuan, triggering a random 5x cashback bonus. Cashback amount, 3,550 yuan. That's awesome. Su Chen couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth slightly. Spending money can get cashback. That's really convenient. Soon, the little beauty called over a takeaway delivery boy dressed in a yellow robe. Su Chen gave him 200 yuan as a tip and asked him to go with him to Jianshan Media to deliver the takeaway. So, this is what happened on the streets of Weihai. A luxurious Maybach S680 was followed by a Mi electric car. Feeling the confused stares of countless passers-by, the takeaway delivery boy exclaimed in his heart. Rich people really know how to have fun. Jianshan Entertainment Media, Talent Department. Everyone is sitting in front of the computer, either working or goofing off. When the glass door opens, Su Chen's figure appears in the public eye, followed by a delivery boy. Brothers and sisters, you've worked hard. Come have a cup of milk tea from the fall. Su Chen's voice is not too loud or too soft, just loud enough for most people to hear. The delivery boy suddenly understands. He thinks that Su Chen is most likely the company's prince, and this is a benefit for the employees. What a good boss! The male colleagues immediately rushed over when they saw what was going on. Wow, Su Chen, you're so generous. Why did you buy us so much milk tea? Wow, it's still Cha Chen Dao, this milk tea is really delicious. The office instantly became lively. The female colleagues also stopped being reserved, gathered around, and started choosing their milk tea. Su Chen is so considerate, he actually gave us milk tea. Whoever finds Su Chen as a boyfriend will definitely be very happy. Yes, exactly. This bubble milk tea is so delicious, it just explodes in your mouth. Su Chen seems to have a different aura today, he looks especially handsome. You must have spent quite a bit on all these cups, right? You really went all out. It's hard to say no when someone offers you a treat. Even colleagues who don't usually say much to each other can't stop praising the food. Meanwhile, the delivery boy is dumbfounded. He's noticed that Su Chen doesn't seem to be a prince, but an employee here. What the hell kind of script is this, where the second generation comes to experience life? The Maybach S680 downstairs is proof like steel, isn't it? The delivery boy didn't dare to speak, trembling with fear. At this time, Shen Yan, the younger sister, came over. She didn't rush to get her milk tea, but asked with concern, Su Chen, why didn't you come to work today? Were you not feeling well in the morning? Are you feeling better now? She smiled gently and beautifully, like a spring breeze. Su Chen was slightly taken aback, but didn't want to worry her, so he casually explained, no, I stayed up late playing games, so I took the day off. He was indeed playing games, and it was a 2-player game at that. That's good. Maybach. Ding. Congratulations on completing the favorability task. Lin Shuya's favorability towards you has increased by 3, and your current favorability is 88, lovers. So comfortable. Su Chen's mood was very pleasant. He had just kissed the stunning CEO Lin Shuya passionately in the office, and the sweetness was still lingering in the corners of his mouth. He was so happy and excited. He was closer to reaching 90 favorability points with her, and would be able to receive a generous favorability reward. It was a double harvest of love and career. This is life. Su Chen had previously thought about being single for the rest of his life, but now he is experiencing the joy of being in love. It can really only be described in 2 words. It's so sweet. At this time, his phone rang. It was a call from LV shopping guide Miss Yisinu. Mr. Su, are you free today? I'd like to introduce you to my best friend. Her best friend, Xiao Mian, has been rated by the system as a 94-point goddess of eternal youth. Raising your favorability with her also earns you rewards. This is your chance. If you're free, where are you? Su Chen agreed on a meeting place with them and drove directly there. Red Maple Community, entrance. The two super beauties stood here, tall and graceful, and became a beautiful sight. The rate of people looking back was off the charts. Yi Xinyu was wearing a light blue, pure, voluptuous wrap skirt today, which wrapped her figure in a curvy shape, and her long, slender legs were very eye-catching. Xiao Mian's figure is even more explosive. She is wearing denim shorts and a short-sleeved, patterned, low-cut white shirt, which shows off her 36E breasts and radiates a strong feminine glow. Her long, slender legs are smooth and fair, and they have a slight sense of fleshiness. Some young men may like Yi Xinyu's relatively slender, standard figure, but men with some experience will know that Xiao Mian's plump figure is quite exquisite. Many men can only admire these two stunning goddesses from afar and dare not go up and strike up a conversation. Without any strength or capital in their pockets, do they have to go and humiliate themselves? At this moment, a successful man dressed like a social elite is getting restless in an Audi A7. He is an executive at a small financial company with an annual income of nearly $1 million. He prepares his business card, gets out of the car with a bright and confident smile, and plans to go over and strike up a conversation. But then, a cool Maybach S680 slowly pulled up and, in the midst of everyone's attention, stopped calmly. The door opened. A handsome figure appeared. Yi Xinyu and Xiao Mian, the two stunning goddess sisters, had stars in their eyes. Maybach S680. Luxurious, cool, and handsome. The owner, Su Chen, was even more handsome and charming, with an extraordinary temperament. The smile on the Audi man's face instantly disappeared, and he was completely frozen in place, his hand shaking as he held the business card. He had just mustered the courage to take the first step, only to be instantly outshined. He was devastated. He couldn't help but think of the very cruel and realistic saying in the animal world. The powerful male animals can take possession of the females of their kind at will, while the other weak males can only watch. And he was one of those weak males in front of Su Chen. Chapter 22 High Emotional Intelligence, warming her up all day. Yi Xinyu pulled her best friend and quickly walked up to Su Chen, her beautiful eyes full of excitement. Mr. Su, you look so handsome today. Wow, you're driving a Maybach. I've never been in a car like this before. By the way, this is my best friend Xiao Mian. I hope I haven't disappointed you, Mr. Su. The photos they posted on WeChat Moments had actually been slightly edited. So Yi Xinyu was a little worried that Su Chen would feel that Xiao Mian's photos did not match her in person and would not be satisfied. Hello, Mr. Su, nice to meet you. Xiao Mian extended her white, delicate hand. Her voice was gentle. She was the kind of person who was very obedient and would not get angry no matter how much she was bullied, and she had a very good temperament. Su Chen was a little surprised, reached out and shook her hand lightly, and said hello. Xiao Mian's hand was soft and delicate. It felt very good. When you look at her stunning figure and her innocent baby face, she is just adorable. Name, Xiao Mian. Age, 21. Body type, 169 centimeters tall, 56 kilograms, 36E. Overall appearance, 94 points. Likability, 41. Relationship experience, 0. Current status, woof woof meow wants to lie down and relax, no more effort. Su Chen's eyes went wide. Unexpectedly, this Xiao Mian actually has no experience in love. The system's perspective is really unique. And, is she that contrasting? Wants to lie down? Doesn't want to work hard? In the Maybach S680. The Berlin Sound Radio is playing passionate and dynamic DJ music, and the atmosphere is very high. Su Chen operates the steering wheel with one hand, looking carefree. The luxurious interior makes both women look surprised in their eyes. The 5 million top-of-the-line Maybach is said to be the ultimate in luxury, and it's no joke. Especially Yi Xinyu, with her little face excitedly touching everything, feeling the texture of the leather seats, and unable to let go. That's the smell of money. The passenger, Xiao Mian, is quieter, always maintaining a gentle and dignified posture, her long legs slightly together, her skin white and smooth, beautiful beyond compare. It's just that the seatbelt is broken, which outlines her figure even more voluptuously and wickedly. It makes one think of a woman named Yu Rong. Of course, Xiao Mian also enjoys this luxurious and comfortable life. Her dream is to do nothing and lie down as much as possible. Mr. Su, the air conditioning in the car seems a bit cold. Look, Mian is shivering with cold. Yi Sinyu knew exactly where she stood today. She was a wingman, and she had to bring her best friend together with Mr. Su. Xiao Mian's expression was very dumbfounded. Me? Shivering? How come she didn't know? Su Chen glanced over to the side. Should I turn the temperature down? Yi Sinyu waved her hand quickly, with a cunning smile. No, as long as you, Mr. Su, personally warm Mian up for her, that's fine. 1. I'm a gentleman, I can't do this kind of thing. 2. Don't you have hands? Do you need me to do it? 3. Asking if Xiao Mian is cold and warming her up all day. Su Chen smiled, as if he understood something. This Yi Sinyu really knows how to get things done. Are you cold? Su Chen asked Xiao Mian, who was next to him, with a faint smile. Xiao Mian was slightly startled, nodded, and said, well, a little. Su Chen calmly extended his hand and placed it on her soft, snow-white thigh. It was soft and very elastic. Xiao Mian closed her eyes and blushed shyly. Ding! Xiao Mian's favorability rating with you has increased by 5, and your current favorability rating is 46. Su Chen was overjoyed. This kind of good thing, come more next time. The Moose Coffee Shop has an elegant environment. Su Chen and the others found a quiet location and sat down. Then they ordered 3 coffees and some refreshments. Yi Sinyu slumped comfortably in the armchair. Hey, it's better to be served than to serve. At LV's store, I have to serve every day and smile at customers. If I could be as free as you, Mr. Su, that would be great. She is very straightforward and says whatever comes to mind. Su Chen agrees. Yes, work does make us do things we don't want to do. But when we can relax, we should try to relax and enjoy life. Well, I still have to thank Mr. Su for spending so much with me last time. I don't have to worry about sales this month. Yi Sinyu's smile blossomed as she continued, Mr. Su, if you don't mind, you can just call me Sinyu from now on. And you can call her Mian Mian just like me. Oh, that's right. She used to have another nickname, Little Lamb. She winked playfully at Su Chen. Xiao Mian said teasingly, Sister Sinyu, I don't want the nickname Little Lamb. I want to be called Little Meow. Ha, Little Lamb is so cute, just like you, soft and cuddly. Mr. Su will like that. Yi Sinyu was very lively, and deliberately pinched Xiao Mian's waist, while Xiao Mian, who was very ticklish, hid and dodged. It was a pleasure to watch these two superb sisters compete with each other. It makes you feel good. What do you think, Mr. Su? I think that whether Mian Mian is called Little Lamb or Little Meow, she is very cute. Let's see what she prefers. Su Chen thought so anyway, and said so directly. Yes, Mr. Su is right. Xiao Mian immediately stood on the same side as Su Chen. Su Chen waved his hand, that's enough. And don't call me Mr. Su anymore. My name is Su Chen, and I should be a bit older than you. Yi Sinyu's face was full of joy. Great, then I'll call you brother from now on. Mian Mian, you should change your address too. Brother Su Chen. Xiao Mian's voice was soft and mellow. It made people feel like melting, and they really wanted to bully her. Chapter 23. This profession seems a bit unorthodox, doesn't it? Soon, the coffee and desserts were all served. Su Chen and the others began to eat and chat. It turned out that Yi Sinyu and Xiao Mian had known each other since childhood, and Xiao Mian was her little sister from the neighborhood. Whenever Xiao Mian was bullied, Yi Sinyu, as her older sister, would stand up for her and protect her. Later, Xiao Mian also got a job at LV's store through the introduction of Yi Sinyu. However, she only worked there for a few days before the store manager dismissed her because he found her too stupid, slow to learn, and not sweet-talking enough. She also scolded Yi Sinyu, and later, Xiao Mian cried and apologized to Yi Sinyu. The two of them were upset about this matter for several days. Su Chen was amused when she heard this. Unexpectedly, this Yi Sinyu is quite righteous, and this sister is very competent. However, Su Chen was curious about how stupid Xiao Mian really was, and how she got fired. He couldn't help but glance at Xiao Mian. She was pretty and had an excellent figure, but her eyes did look dull and innocent, like the clear-headed stupidity of a college student. So, does Mian Mian have a job now? Su Chen asked curiously. This question also stumped the two women. Xiao Mian nodded and said honestly, yes, it's online. Ahem. Yi Sinyu immediately interrupted and said, she's a self-media blogger. You know, a fashion blogger, selling clothes. Right. Su Chen. I always feel that there's something fishy about it. A fashion blogger? On which platform? I'll go check out her account. Su Chen was indeed a little curious. The other person was a fashion blogger, and it looked like she was also an internet celebrity? He is an internet celebrity scout, and now it is a professional match. This. Yi Xinyu was still a little embarrassed. Xiao Mian said sweetly, let's tell brother Su Chen, it's not good to lie. Okay. Yi Xinyu sighed and said, brother Su Chen, do you have the Inmu platform? Search for Mimi as a cat, that account with 120,000 followers is it? Awesome, 120,000 followers. Su Chen was a little impressed. With this number of followers, if it is operated properly, it is definitely no problem for a clothing blogger to earn 30,000 to 40,000 yuan a month. However, he noticed. Yi Xinyu was holding her head, looking distressed. So, what was the reason? With curiosity, Su Chen took out his phone and opened the platform SoundNote video. Searching for as a cat, there was indeed an account with 1.23 million followers. As a result, when he clicked in to take a look, Su Chen's eyes instantly widened. Xiao Mian is indeed a fashion blogger who changes her outfit every day. Wearing a mask, she twists her waist awkwardly, showing off her superb figure, and the dynamic music in the background. The scene looks so exciting that you can't stop watching it. There are also several videos of her changing outfits, and they all have a high view count. The comments section below is already exploding. Refuse the temptation of beauty? Forget it, I can't do it. So hot. I really can't hold back when I see this kind of thing. Little sister, do you sell stockings? Used ones are fine, I don't need new ones. Oh no, I really like this one. Excuse me everyone, this is my wife. Sis, spoil me, kick me with your feet. However, her window did hang many outfits, and she said she was a fashion blogger, so there was nothing wrong with it. But this is obviously borderline. Seeing Su Chen fall silent, Yi Xinyu immediately explained, brother Su Chen, this idea was actually all my idea. Because Mian is a bit dumb, she can't do other jobs. So she can only clean the windows and stuff. And we only sell normal clothes, we're not doing anything shady. Mian is actually very simple-minded. She has never been in love, really. She tried to explain as much as she could to convince Su Chen. Because in the minds of the public, this kind of blogger is the kind that can't be seen in the light, and it's embarrassing to talk about it. Who would believe that she is really innocent? 1. What? You think this kind of borderline blogger is innocent? I don't believe it. 2. Of course I believe it, because I've seen it for a long time. Mian is still inexperienced. 3. Well, of course I believe it. I just feel a little sad and upset. You're saying that a simple girl is struggling desperately to make a living in a way she doesn't like, which is actually very inspiring. If there's no other way, who would choose this way? It's just that reality is so cruel. Upon seeing the third option, Su Chen really wanted to slap himself hard. Yes. You're damn right. Did he just have a fleeting thought that Xiao Mian is no longer innocent? Damn it. Su Chen gathered his emotions and said in a deep voice, well, of course I believe you. I just feel a little sad and it doesn't feel good. He shook his head and smiled bitterly, then helplessly spread his hands and said in a deep voice, you say that a simple girl is struggling desperately to make a living in a way she doesn't like. Isn't that inspiring? Isn't that admirable? If there's no other way, who would choose this way? It's just that reality is so cruel. Su Chen seemed to be possessed by a movie star, his acting skills soaring. Yi Xinyu and Xiao Mian were both stunned. They looked at each other, their eyes welling up with tears. They were so moved. These words really spoke to their hearts. Indeed, Yi Xinyu really had no choice. Life in Weihai is stressful, and although the sisters get along well, she can't keep supporting Xiao Mian. So she tried to find a way to help Xiao Mian, making videos for her and finding cooperative businesses. The goal was to sell a few clothes, earn some living expenses, and make a living. If it wasn't that way, how could she attract traffic and customers? However, Su Chen saw through all of this. Xiao Mian was about to burst into tears. Brother Su Chen, you're really good, thank you for not despising me and for being able to understand me. She couldn't help but choke up a little. Oops. Su Chen couldn't bear to see a girl cry, so he quickly got up, grabbed a tissue and handed it to her, then patted her on the head. Silly girl, I've been through hard times too, so how could I ever dislike you? I feel bad for you, not the other way around. Ooh, Su Chen, you're really too kind. Xiao Mian's nose grew a little sour, and thinking about her own difficulties, grievances, and hardships, she burst into tears. Yi Xinyu also had tears in her eyes as she comforted her little sister. At the same time, her opinion of Su Chen changed completely. Su Chen was not at all like the typical rich second generation, who are aloof and arrogant. Instead, he was very down-to-earth and could empathize with others. Moreover, as she looked into Su Chen's deep eyes, she felt that the other person also had his own story. Perhaps he had experienced more suffering than anyone else. Because only when you are in that environment can you truly understand what others are doing and empathize with them. Ding! Yi Sinyu's favorability towards you has increased by 10, and your current favorability is 75. Ding! Xiao Mian's favorability towards you has increased by 20, and your current favorability is 66. You can receive rewards for this stage. Holy shit, it increased so quickly? Su Chen was still in the middle of empathizing with her when he saw the prompt and instantly became excited. He can receive rewards again. Awesome! Chapter 24. It's just a small scene. Half an hour later. Su Chen led them out of the cafe. A rumble. A roar. The Maybach S680, driving through the streets of Weihai, was cool and handsome. Su Chen looked indifferent, steering with one hand. But it felt like there was something missing? Especially when he had previously reached out to take advantage of Xiao Mian, and when he had patted her head to comfort her, the feeling became even stronger. Suddenly, he noticed his empty wrist. He understood. As the saying goes, the poor play with cars, the rich play with watches. Now that he had money, he had to buy a high-end watch to feel the experience. Su Chen, where are we going later? Yi Xinyu was a little curious. Su Chen came back to his senses and said indifferently, I want to buy a watch. Do you have any good suggestions? Yi Xinyu was LV's salesperson and knew a lot more about high-end luxury goods than he did. So he could listen to her opinion. Yi Xinyu felt valued and happy inside, and advised seriously, Brother Su Chen, you are so young. If you are buying a watch priced at hundreds of thousands of yuan, you can choose Omega. Their latest Solar Impulse series is very good. Su Chen nodded and continued, what about the more expensive ones, the ones that cost millions? Xiao Mian and Yi Xinyu were both taken aback. He started off by talking about watches that cost millions? Brother Su Chen, you are so generous. Yi Xinyu said excitedly, if it's worth millions, then it's definitely Patek Philippe, known as the Emperor of Watches. Their Star Moon Tourbillon is a major feature. And Vacheron Constantine's overseas collection is also very good. Patek Philippe and Vacheron Constantine. It seems that these two watch brands are indeed very well known. It's similar to Su Chen's initial thoughts. Su Chen said indifferently, do you have a friend who works in one of these stores? We can go over there and take care of her business. Ah, no, that's a pity. Yi Xinru shook her head, looking regretful. She now wished she could transform into a watch salesperson. Wouldn't that be another sale? Okay, let's go to Patek Philippe. Su Chen reached out and adjusted the navigation to change the destination. Next to him, Xiao Mian's voice was gentle and soft as she said, Sister Xinru knows so much, she can help Brother Su Chen. I really am so stupid, I'm sorry, Brother Su Chen. Seeing her full of self-blame, Su Chen was slightly stunned and comforted, it's okay, you have your own area of expertise. You certainly have your own advantages. What advantages? Xiao Mian's eyes widened with curiosity, full of expectation. Before Su Chen could answer. Yi Xa and you already answered, your advantages, of course, are that you have a bigger frame, much bigger than mine anyway. She looked down at herself and was indeed ashamed. Even Xiao Mian, who was not very smart, understood. She blushed instantly, Sister Xinyu, you're teasing me again. She shyly blocked with her arm, but she still couldn't hide her obvious fullness. Su Chen couldn't help but glance at her. Her beautiful face was flushed with peach blossoms, and her figure was plump and exquisite, with an S-shaped figure, she was simply an angelic beauty. And her personality was so contrasting. She was simply too cute, wanting to. Weihai City Bund 36, Patek Philippe flagship store. The three got off the car and were instantly captivated by the dreamlike scenery before them. The ancient buildings, full of a strong British style, were attractively located, and the entrance was marked with a modern sign. Patek Philippe. I thought I came to the wrong place. He was a little surprised. This was indeed quite different from what Su Chen had imagined. Yi Xinyu explained, because this Patek Philippe was selected as the location for the official residence of the British governor in the 19th century, its architecture has been maintained in its original form. But I haven't been inside, so I guess it's modernized? Oh, let's go then. Su Chen's expression quickly returned to his usual indifferent look. In the past, when he came to such high-end places, he would really be intimidated, but now that he had money, he naturally had a lot of confidence. Yi Xinyu took Su Chen's arm and looked relaxed. Xiao Mian, however, was very scared and said carefully, "Brother Su Chen, I'm a bit nervous." Seeing her timid appearance, Su Chen took her hand and said, "Let's go, don't be afraid. It's just a small scene." Feeling the warmth of Su Chen's big hand, Xiao Mian felt full of peace. They formally entered Patek Philippe. The first thing that caught their eyes was the large French chandelier above their heads, which was dazzling and shining. They were standing on a mahogany floor, and there were exquisite murals on the walls. He looked around. Everything exuded a high-end, luxurious atmosphere, and it was magnificent. In the glass display cases, which looked brand new, were Patek Philippe watches of various models. On the advertising wall in the center was a Patek Philippe Star Moon Tourbillon Series 5002P watch, accompanied by an advertising slogan. "No one can own a Patek Philippe, you are only keeping it for your next generation." Su Chen was secretly a little shocked. Is this Patek Philippe really that high-end? He had previously thought that Patek Philippe shops were similar to mobile phone stores, but now it seems that they are completely different classes. It's so extravagant. No wonder it is called the Emperor of Watches. Yi Xinyu and Xiao Mian also looked around in amazement, like country girls entering the big city. At that moment, a female salesperson in a suit came smiling to the group. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Patek Philippe." She wore white gloves and placed her hands elegantly in front of her belly. She had a dignified posture and a beautiful appearance. Su Chen quickly regained her composure and said lightly, "I would like to look at the watches." "Okay, sir, this way please." The saleswoman made a gesture of invitation and still had a faint smile on her face. Su Chen couldn't help but sigh. The higher the end of the market, the better the service attitude. There is no rudeness at all, and no sense of discrimination. They arrived at an exquisite display case. The saleswoman extended her gloved hand and smiled, saying, "You can take a look at these Aquanaut divers watches. They go well with your noble temperament." Ah. Su Chen glanced into the display case. He noticed that the watches in this series were all average in style, and they had one thing in common: they all cost between 100,000 and 200,000 yuan. He understood. This is because the female salesperson is positioning herself as an entry-level customer, so she is introducing such cheap watches to him. However, the other party's service attitude is indeed very respectful, and she even praised him for his noble temperament. Su Chen pondered for a moment and said, "This is a bit cheap. By the way, don't you have a complicated timepiece series that is quite good?" Upon hearing this, the female salesperson's face flashed with a dry smile, and she said, "Yes, sir, the watches under our super complicated timepiece series are the most high-end series of our Patek Philippe. Of course, its price is also relatively expensive." Her words actually had the meaning of discouraging him. After all, the products in this series start at $1 million. The average person cannot afford it. "Who knew?" Su Chen said indifferently, "then something more expensive. I still have a bit of a budget." The saleswoman was instantly surprised, and she ran her hand through her hair, smiling brightly. "Okay. Then this way, sir." Chapter 25 Spending cash and getting cash back is awesome. The watches in the showcase this time were of a higher class than the previous ones, both in terms of appearance and price. The 5370P is a very classic model from the Super Complication series. Some say that wearing it is like wearing the world's time on your wrist. A big star in China wears this watch. And as you can see, it costs 1.86 million. The saleswoman was trying hard to sell it, afraid that the price would scare Su Chen away. Su Chen, of course, had his own opinions, and when he saw a watch that he liked, he immediately decided. "I want this one." He pointed to a watch in the showcase. Everyone looked in the direction of the pointing finger, and there was a watch with a black starry sky background, the sky dotted with countless stars, as if a galaxy. Alligator leather strap, transparent sapphire crystal dial, bezel is champagne gold with diamonds, writing "It's extraordinary." The female salesperson froze for a few seconds and confirmed, "Sir, is this 6104 or 001 starry skytop what you want? It costs 4.12 million yuan." Su Chen said indifferently, yes, that's it. Wrap it up. The female salesperson was completely stunned, and her smile became even brighter. She had previously tried to sell Su Chen a watch for 100,000 yuan, and then followed up with a desperate attempt to sell him a watch for over 1 million yuan. But now, Su Chen has directly ordered a watch that costs more than 4 million yuan. This is simply unbelievable. Yes, sir, I'll get it for you right away. The saleswoman, who had been very calm, was now obviously nervous and excited. Yi Xinyu could almost see her own shocked expression when she was faced with Su Chen's lavish spending. It was exactly the same. The only difference was that they were buying clothes instead of watches. You have to understand that this is a watch worth over 4 million yuan. Su Chen just bought it without blinking an eye, as if it were as simple as drinking water. Xiao Mian was even more dumbfounded. She was breaking her white fingers and using her not-so-bright brain to do some calculations. She now posts short videos and sells clothes, and can only earn just over 10,000 yuan a month. After deducting living expenses such as buying clothes and cosmetics, she can only have a maximum of 3,000 yuan left a month. So that's 36,000 yuan a year. Oh my god. If I want to buy this watch, it'll take me over 100 years. Xiao Mian couldn't help but open her mouth wide in shock. Yi Xinyu was dumbfounded. Over 100 years? Then I'd have turned to dust long ago. Su Chen, the godly tycoon, is terrifying. Patek Philippe, service counter. After going through some of the purchasing process, Su Chen swiped his card to pay. Ding! Your current purchase amount is 4,120,000 yuan, triggering a random 3x cashback bonus. Congratulations on your cashback, 12,360,000 yuan. 3 times the cashback, it really feels good. Su Chen was very excited. He had bought a 4 million yuan watch and was given over 10 million yuan in cashback. This cashback card is really a great thing. And there's still more than 5 million yuan left, so I guess there'll be a lot more cashback. Mr. Su, do you need me to put it on for you? The saleswoman's face flushed slightly. She had now seen Su Chen's wealth, and her eyes had become feverish. Well, come on. Su Chen sat in the chair and calmly held out his left hand. The saleswoman solemnly took out the 4 million plus Patek Philippe 6104 Starry Skywatch from the exquisite watch box. She carefully put it on for Su Chen. Wow, Mr. Su, you look really handsome when you wear it. It really suits your noble temperament. She clapped her hands in admiration. The emotional value was spot on. As soon as Yi Xinyu heard this, she felt a strong sense of crisis. This saleswoman is no pushover. Then I'll outdo you in flirting. She immediately changed to a cute girlish voice and flirted exaggeratedly. Oh my god. I'm afraid this Patek Philippe can only fully reflect its value when worn on your wrist, Mr. Su Chen. It is shining under the reflection of your noble temperament. Brother Su Chen is simply awesome. The saleswoman felt a dark cloud descend over her, sensing an invisible sense of pressure. The other party is a master. Su Chen couldn't help but raise the corner of his mouth when he saw this. Although these words were very exaggerated, they sounded great when heard in his heart. He looked at the Patek Philippe on his wrist with satisfaction. A 4 million yuan watch on his wrist. It was like playing a video game and wearing the ultimate equipment. It was just too cool. Mr. Su, let's add a contact method. You can contact me at any time for after-sales issues related to the watch. My name is Lu Xian, you can just call me Lu. Su Chen glanced at her, and the system immediately popped up a prompt. Name, Lu Xian. Age, 27. Body type, 168 centimeters tall. Overall appearance, 83 points. Likability, 56. Seeing this, Su Chen could only shake his head. Clearly, she did not meet the goddess standards set by the system. Yi Xinyu saw the female salesperson pulling strings and felt that she was facing a formidable opponent. She hurriedly whispered to Xiao Mian, you have to do something. Otherwise, brother Su Chen is going to be taken away by that bad woman who is no good. Ha? Me? Make a move? Xiao Mian's face flushed, and she felt dizzy. She didn't know what to do. So, she carefully tugged Su Chen's sleeve and whispered gently, brother, when are we leaving? Su Chen looked back at her, dumbfounded. 1. What's the matter? Why are you pulling me, silly? Scold her. 2. Well, we're leaving now. Conservative. 3. You've been shopping with me for so long, and I haven't rewarded you yet. Go and pick one, I'll pay. Extravagant. It seems like I can only choose between the second and third options. He has a cashback system now, so why don't we be completely extravagant? Su Chen glanced at Yi Xinyu and smiled faintly. You two have been shopping with me for half a day, and it's quite hard work. Go, Xinyu, take Mian Mian with you, go pick two you like, I'll pay. The three women were momentarily stunned, dumbfounded. Yi Xinyu was even more excited inside. She didn't expect Su Chen to actually give them two watches. The cheapest one costs over 100,000. Looks like it's still Xiao Mian, the silly little sister, who is useful. In the future, she'll be the one to rely on. Chapter 26. It seems like she has become a master at breaking up. Yi Xinyu is very sensible and only shows Xiao Mian entry-level watches. Of course, even entry-level ones cost hundreds of thousands of yuan. For ordinary people, this is no small sum. However, Su Chen feels that entry-level watches are too ordinary and not very attractive, and quickly tells them to be more daring and look at higher-end ones. The female salesperson Lu Xian is envious when she sees this, her eyes full of admiration. Accompanying Su Chen on a shopping trip is rewarded with hundreds of thousands of yuan worth of watches? She would be more than willing to do the same. She would even be happy to accompany Su Chen on other errands. After all, Su Chen is young and handsome. Meanwhile, a couple is also looking at watches in this showroom. Both are dressed up in their best. The woman is wearing heavy makeup and is very flirtatious. She is about 80 points in terms of appearance and figure, and is definitely considered a beauty. She put her arm around the man's arm and cooed, "Brother Hao, buy me a watch. I really like this rose gold antique watch. It's only 250,000, which is a piece of cake for you, Brother Hao." Brother Hao rolled his eyes and said unhappily, "Only 250,000? Do you think money is that easy to come by? Just enjoy the moment." "Ha!" The flirtatious woman was unhappy and said in a loud voice, "Other people's boyfriends buy their girlfriends' bags, watches and cars, but you only brought me here to look? What else?" Hao brother said proudly, "It's good that I brought you here to see the world, and you're asking for so much. See that man?" He pointed to Su Chen, who was not far away. The flirtatious woman nodded. What's wrong?" Brother Hao laughed and said, "The man is here with two such beautiful girls, but he's just here to look, isn't he? Why are you still feeling so insecure?" The flirtatious woman was silent and unable to refute. But then, the next moment, Su Chen pointed at the display case and said indifferently, "This one and this one, wrap them up for me." The goddesses were shocked. They looked at the display case, where the two diamond watches sparkled and glistened. Yi Xinyu and Xiao Mian immediately opened their mouths wide, and little stars twinkled in their eyes. Patek Philippe 24-4908/white gold with diamonds, 965,000 yuan. Patek Philippe Goendulo 7099/pink gold, 920,000 yuan. Oh my, brother Su Chen. Aren't these two watches too expensive? Yi Xinyu couldn't help exclaiming. Even though Su Chen had said earlier that they could choose a watch themselves, the price of the watches she had been looking at did not actually exceed 300,000 yuan. Who would have thought that Su Chen would have directly made the decision for them and ordered two ladies' watches that were both close to 1,000,000 yuan? It really was too expensive. Xiao Mian's plump breasts rose and fell slightly as she breathed heavily and said, "Su Chen brother, why don't we just get something cheaper?" Su Chen gave a faint smile and said, "Do you not like these two?" "Of course we like them. It's just the price." That made Yi Xinyu pause, her face turning red and hot. She was afraid to say anything more, for if she did, Su Chen would really regret it. No one doesn't like money, and she was no exception. But such an expensive gift still made her feel a little overwhelmed. Su Chen didn't think about it that much, and said indifferently, "It's enough that you like them, so don't worry about the price. Lu, get to work." He waved his hand. The saleswoman immediately snapped back to reality. "Yes, Mr. Su, please wait a moment." She began to make preparations. Next to her, the flirtatious woman saw this and became even more envious and jealous. She quickly grabbed the man's arm and shook it frantically. "Brother Hao, didn't you just say that you were just showing someone your girlfriend? Now that they've bought it, what do you say? I want you to buy me one too." Upon hearing this, Brother Hao's face turned extremely ugly. "If someone else has the money, then buy it. Why are you so ignorant and have to compete with others? The flirtatious woman continued to chatter on, unconvinced, saying, "What's wrong with me? Is it so hard for you to buy me a watch? Don't you have tens of millions of assets at home? Why are you unwilling to spend a little money on me? That's my family's money, and you want to buy a watch that costs 250,000 yuan? How the hell can I afford that?" Hao was so angry that he turned red in the face. "I don't care, you have to buy it for me today, or we're breaking up." "Damn it, fine, we're breaking up." "Fine. You said it, don't come looking for me again, scumbag." In a fit of anger, the flirtatious woman just shook her head and walked away. "No, you." Hao was dumbfounded. How did she really run away? He noticed the strange looks from the crowd and, embarrassed, tried to find a crack in the ground to crawl into. He quickly fled, chasing after the woman. Su Chen couldn't help but sigh when she saw this. Hey, it's good to be rich. Otherwise, if your girlfriend wants to buy something and you can't afford it because you're broke, that's really embarrassing. Even if your girlfriend understands at the time, what about the long term? Will there be conflicts because of material reasons? At that time, should you blame your girlfriend for being money-oriented and realistic? Or blame yourself for not being able to make your girlfriend enjoy a good life? After all, with money, these things are not a problem. Xiyao exclaimed in surprise, "Brother Su Chen, it seems like they really broke up." Su Chen, so what? Xiao Mian? Chapter 27 I heard that you need a reservation for 3 Michelin stars? After paying at the Patek Philippe service counter, the two ultimate goddess sisters, Xiyao and Xiao Mian, held out their fair, delicate hands and put on their $1 million Patek Philippe watches at the same time. The diamonds on the watch sparkled like stars, and the platinum and rose gold were even more dazzling and charming, making their temperaments suddenly rise to a higher level. Noble and elegant. Their smiles bloom like peach blossoms. They are taking pictures of their watches on their phones, full of praise. Wow, it's so beautiful. The diamonds on it are so shiny. I love it. Brother Su Chen, it's really great. Yes, you have great taste. I love my 7099 rose gold watch, it's so elegant. Brother Su Chen, you are simply the best man in the world. If anyone could marry him, they would definitely be happy forever. Su Chen felt very good when he heard the two women chatting happily. The system kept sending prompts. Host consumption of 965,000 detected, triggering random 2x cashback. Host consumption of 920,000 detected, triggering random 3x cashback. Cashback amount obtained, 1,930,000 yuan. Cashback amount obtained, 2,760,000 yuan. The multiplier is average, but you still earned nearly 3 million. Su Chen glanced at his phone in silence. He discovered that the balance in his bank card had skyrocketed to over 17 million yuan. He was overjoyed. However, the balance on his cashback card had also dropped to just over 3 million yuan. Let's collect the new rewards. He opened the favorability panel. Xiyao's favorability with you has increased by 5 points. Current favorability, 80 points. Xiao Mian's favorability with you has increased by 5 points. Current favorability, 71 points. You can now collect Goddess Xiao Mian, with 2 stages of rewards, 60 favor and 70 favor. Does the host wish to collect immediately? Do you have any more cashback cards? Su Chen's mouth curled up slightly, and then he chose to collect them all. Ding! Congratulations, host, on receiving your reward, 1 night in the presidential suite of the Grand Hyatt Hotel. Value, 228,000 yuan. Ding! Congrats, you have triggered a critical strike and received the reward, 20% partnership shares in the 3-star Michelin restaurant Tian Pavilion. Value, 80 million. Holy shit! 80 million? Su Chen was completely thrilled. He was still hoping for a cashback card, but he ended up getting a critical strike of good fortune? 20% partnership shares in the 3-star Michelin restaurant Tian Pavilion. This is a good thing. It means that Su Chen only needs to lie at home, and the chef will work for him. He only needs to receive dividends at home. Moreover, if Su Chen really doesn't want it, he can sell the partner shares. Even if he can't sell it for 80 million, he can easily sell it for 40 or 50 million. This is so cool. Just as he was daydreaming, a soft, moist touch came to his cheek. Mwah! 2 overlapping kisses sounded. Yi Xinyu and Xiao Mian, the two perfect sisters, stood on the left and right sides of Su Chen, tiptoed, and at the same time gently pecked his left and right cheeks. "Brother Su Chen, thank you for the gift, we really like it." Yi Xinyu blushed shyly and asked tenderly, "What were you thinking just now?" Just now, after she took the photo, she proposed to kiss Su Chen with Xiao Mian to express their gratitude. After all, the watches that Su Chen gave them together were worth nearly 2 million. Such a weighty gift. If they didn't show their appreciation, they would feel bad, wouldn't they? Su Chen quickly regained his composure and laughed. "I was wondering what to eat tonight. How about going to Taiyan Pavilion?" Taiyan Pavilion? Yi Sinyu's eyes lit up with surprise. "This is a 3-star Michelin restaurant. I heard that you need to make a reservation a week in advance to get a table." Xiao Mian nodded, dumbfounded. "Well, I've seen it online too. A lot of people go there to check in. Brother Su Chen, if we book now, we should be able to get a table." From what they said, it seems that this Taiyan Pavilion Michelin 3-star restaurant has a bit of class, doesn't it? You actually need to book a week in advance to get a table? I'll give them a call, maybe something will come up? Su Chen's mouth curled up slightly, and then he picked up his phone and dialed the contact information for the chef, Anderson Matt. The call was quickly connected. A slightly rusty Chinese accent came from the other end, with a very respectful attitude. "Hello, Mr. Su. This is Anderson Matt, the chef of Taiyan Pavilion. Thank you very much for your favor in becoming the sole partner of our Taiyan Pavilion. This is a great affirmation for me." Su Chen smiled indifferently. "You're welcome, Chef Anderson. Your cooking skills have been well known for a long time, and I like food and investment. So, it's kind of a fate." Hearing this, Anderson could not hide his joy and said excitedly, "Mr. Su, thank you for your praise. I do not know when you are free. I sincerely invite you to visit Taiyan Pavilion, so that I have the opportunity to personally entertain you to express my gratitude." Su Chen casually said, "I happen to have time tonight, will I be disturbing you?" "Oh no. That would be my greatest honor." Anderson's expression was excited. He knew very well that Su Chen was definitely a big shot to be able to spend so much money to invest in his restaurant. He must befriend him, or even flatter him. They had a brief chat afterwards and agreed on a time. Su Chen then hung up the phone. Xiao Mian and Yi Xinyu both looked at him in shock. My God! Su Chen is actually the sole partner of the 3-star Taiyan Pavilion restaurant? The chef even personally invited him to come and taste the food? That's amazing. Chapter 28 A romantic candlelight dinner. Weihai City welcomed its night. The night sky was full of stars. Taiyan Pavilion, with 3 Michelin stars, was located near the coastal garden. The surrounding residential buildings were lit up with billions of lights, giving a warm and intimate feeling. There was a sense of comfort away from the hustle and bustle of the city. A calm and handsome Maybach S680 parked steadily not far away. Su Chen, accompanied by 2 super beauties, walked towards Taiyan Pavilion together. Seeing this scene, Chef Anderson, who had been waiting at the door for a long time, immediately beamed with a smile and came forward to greet him, accompanied by a young Chinese man next to him. "Mr. Su. Welcome to Taiyan Pavilion. I'm Anderson Matt, the person you spoke to on the phone." Anderson is a proper Frenchman with blonde hair and blue eyes. His career could be written up in a book. He became a chef at the age of 25, won 2 Michelin stars in France at the age of 33, gave up everything to pursue love and started a business in China at the age of 43, and last year, at the age of 48, Taiyan Pavilion finally won the Michelin 3-star laurel. Foreigners are proud at heart, but at the moment, they are exceptionally gentle, respectful, and humble. Perhaps it is influenced by Chinese culture. But more so, it is out of respect for Su Chen's identity. The superb sisters Yi Xinyu and Xiao Mian were already in awe. Where had they ever encountered such a scene? They wanted to eat here, but they had to make a reservation 7 days in advance. The chef came to the door to greet them? It was like a dream. "Hello, Chef Anderson, nice to meet you." Su Chen simply shook his hand. Anderson smiled and continued, "This is Taiyan Pavilion sous chef Zhu Wei, a native of Weihai. My Chinese is not very good, so I hope Mr. Su can forgive me." He was being modest. Su Chen gave a faint smile and gave him a thumbs up. "Your Chinese is very good." "Good." Everyone laughed heartily. Sous chef Zhu Wei also respectfully held out his hand. "Mr. Su, I'm Zhu Wei. I'll be accompanying the chef throughout the evening to ensure you have a good dining experience." "Okay, thanks." Su Chen smiled and shook his hand politely. The other person was also Chinese, so it was indeed easier to communicate. The group walked into the Tian pavilion. The decor was full of French style, with an elegant atmosphere and a very romantic mood. Chef Anderson greeted Su Chen and the others as they entered. They became the focus of the entire restaurant. The diners cast fiery, envious glances. To be personally received by Chef Anderson means that he is the most distinguished guest in the restaurant. Yi Xinyu and Xiao Mian were deeply moved, and their previous perceptions were refreshed. They truly felt what it meant to be distinguished. The feeling of being honored was particularly clear to them at that moment. They already had stars of admiration in their eyes when they looked at Su Chen. After a moment, everyone arrived on the second floor of the restaurant. Anderson entertained the three of them and they sat down at a window seat. The night outside was quiet and the view was beautiful. The burgundy semicircular sofa was paired with a large, gray-black marble round table with a beautiful pattern. In the center vase was a bright red bouquet of roses, the candle flame lit, creating a romantic atmosphere. Sous Chef Xu Wei smiled and said, "Mr. Su, this is the best seat in the restaurant we have reserved for you. There is a pianist there just for you, and you can order whatever song you like at any time. The chef said tonight that you just need to enjoy yourself, and there is no need to spend anything. He will be responsible for all the food. Thank you very much again for your love." After hearing this, Yi Xinyu and Xiao Mian widened their beautiful eyes and looked at the blonde beauty pianist in front of the piano on their right. They were even more excited and overwhelmed. Even Su Chen was a little shocked. This motherfucker doesn't need to order, doesn't need to spend anything, and the chef himself is responsible for cooking for you. Having money is really awesome. Spending 80 million yuan to become a partner of Tian Pavilion really is a different kind of treatment. A quarter of an hour later, led by Chef Anderson, followed by 6 formally dressed waiters, each pushing a small trolley, they came smiling towards Su Chen's table in an imposing manner. The diners, both men and women, all gazed in awe. This was a rare sight. What kind of VIPs deserved such imperial treatment? Chef Anderson picked up the most exquisite bottle of red wine on the trolley and smiled as he came to Su Chen's table. "Mr. Su, I apologize for the intrusion. This is a bottle I have treasured for many years, a 1996 Romanée Conti. Today, as a small token of my appreciation for your presence at Tian Pavilion, I wish you a romantic evening." With a gentle smile, he carefully placed the 1996 Romanée Conti on the wine rack. Then he turned to the waiters and instructed them. "Serve the meal." Soon after, the waiters successively placed the dishes on the small trolley on Su Chen's table. Although the dishes were very small, they were beautifully arranged and looked very classy. The 1996 Romanée Conti red wine also began to breathe, as Su Chen had instructed. Yi Xinyu and Xiao Mian's eyes lit up. All this French food looked so delicious. They wanted to start eating immediately. Moreover, Yi Xinyu, out of curiosity, looked up the price of the 1996 Romanée Conti. The result was even more shocking. A bottle of it would cost around 300,000 yuan. Even if she had the money, she couldn't buy it. Chapter 29 I want to be the best baby of Su Chen's brother. Anderson smiled respectfully and said, "Mr. Su, here are 24 dishes, please enjoy. The rest will be served soon. If you like any of the dishes, you can tell Zhu Wei and we will prepare it for you immediately." The menu for tonight was obviously carefully prepared by Chef Anderson. Not only was there a total of 60 dishes, but each dish was also different. It's just to entertain Su Chen and show our friendship. "Well, thank you." Su Chen nodded with satisfaction, then glanced at the 2 stunning sisters sitting to his left and right. "Then let's dig in." "Great." Yi Xinyu was very excited, picked up the fork on the table, and suddenly hesitated, "But, Su Chen, these delicacies are all different, can I eat as much as I like?" Su Chen looked indifferent. "Go ahead. There are dozens more to come, let's try them all. Then I won't be polite, brother Su Chen." Xiao Mian is looking forward to it, she can't wait, her stomach has been grumbling for a long time. They officially started their meal. When they taste something delicious or find something special, they can ask Zhu Wei about the preparation of these foods or the matching of ingredients. Zhu Wei, who was originally the sous chef, now acts as their waiter. He enthusiastically introduces the dishes. This dish uses ancient method-grown carrots as a garnish, and the clever pairing of yogurt and curry smoothie will make your taste buds bloom. This dish uses molecular gastronomy, with oysters served with tapioca balls and topped with ice grass, which makes the oysters taste fresh and not greasy. This dish is red prawns with asparagus, served with kumquat and Japanese pepper sauce. And this one, which looks a bit like tofu, is actually made with scallops and sep mushrooms. Su Chen and the others ate while listening to Zhu Wei's introduction to the dishes. It was quite interesting. Moreover, French cuisine can combine many unrelated ingredients. Some tasted very good, but a few were not quite to Su Chen's liking. Su Chen, brother, try some of mine. It's quite delicious. Yi Xinyu picks up a piece of food on her fork and feeds it to Su Chen by holding it near his mouth. Su Chen opens his mouth and accepts the food. Xiao Mian is not far behind. She picks up some food on her fork and says to Su Chen, "Brother Su Chen, try my scallop, it's delicious." Su Chen swallows again. The scallop she fed him is indeed very fresh and tender, but she wonders what the other one will taste like. It's nighttime, and they're having a candlelit dinner. The melodious sound of the piano plays. Red wine glasses touched in front of the candlelight, reflecting the cheerful shadows of everyone. The atmosphere seemed enchanting and romantic as glasses were passed from hand to hand. Yi Xinyu and Xiao Mian were both tipsy, their pretty faces flushed like peach blossoms. "I'm so happy tonight." Yi Xinyu looked at this romantic scene and said delightfully in a sweet voice, "Brother Su Chen, can I take a photo?" Su Chen glanced at her. The light blue one-piece dress with a wraparound skirt showed off her figure, which was full and perky, and together with her rosy, tipsy face, she was very charming. He withdrew his gaze and said, "Sure, you can take as many pictures as you like." Yi Xinyu smiled flirtatiously and said, "Then you can put your arm around me and Mian Mian, and we'll take some pictures together." He left and right, "Do you like it? Brother Su Chen. Come on." Su Chen didn't think twice about it. "It's just a photo, right?" His mouth curled up, and he casually put his arm around the soft waists of the two stunning beauties, leaning casually on the sofa. This kind of fulfilling sense of satisfaction is simply an imperial experience. So enjoyable. After the photo was taken, Yi Xinyu looked at the beautiful photo on her phone and smiled brightly and beautifully. Suddenly, her thoughts drifted, and she looked up and said, "Su Chen, why don't you raise Mian Mian from now on?" Upon hearing these words, Su Chen and Xiao Mian were stunned and couldn't help but look at each other. Xiao Mian's cute and adorable face turned even redder. Yi Xinyu smiled and continued, "Look, Su Chen, Mian has a great figure and a big butt, so she'll be able to give birth to kids. And she's very obedient and well-behaved. If you let her be your girlfriend, she'll change her clothes every day just for you. She'll wear sailor outfits, schoolgirl outfits, cosplay costumes, whatever you want. She'll do whatever you want. Isn't that great?" Su Chen's heart stirred after hearing this. Name, Xiao Mian. Current status, eager, woof woof, don't want to try hard anymore. If Su Chen brother is willing to raise me, I want to be his kitten. He gave a faint smile at the corner of his mouth and looked at Xiao Mian. She was wearing a white t-shirt today that showed off her belly button, and the fullness that was about to burst out, the ravine between the snow-white peaks, was simply breathtaking. She obviously had an excellent figure, but she had the face of a cute child. At this moment, Xiao Mian was looking at him with a look of expectation. It turns out that Mian is a little fire princess, shouting, "Master, master, raise you!" Putting his arms around her waist and smiling seductively. 2. Want to seize the future? Now is the time. 3. Mian, I want to hear your true thoughts. Don't feel pressured, I won't force you, I just want you to be happy, playing hard to get. After thinking for a while, Su Chen took her hand and asked gently, "Mian, what are you thinking? Don't feel pressured, I just want you to be happy doing what you want to do." His gentle attack made Xiao Mian, who was a bit awkward, tearful in her anxious eyes. She held back her red face and said with difficulty, "Brother Su Chen, I am very happy with you, and I like you. As long as Brother Su Chen doesn't dislike me, I will be obedient and very obedient. I won't cause any trouble for Brother Su Chen." Yi Xinyu was a little surprised to hear these words. Because Xiao Mian had never been good at expressing her emotions, and yet Su Chen had managed to make her say those words, "I like you." It was truly unprecedented. Su Chen was full of concern, wiping the tears from the corners of Xiao Mian's eyes with his large hand, and consoling her, Mian is really good and cute, and I like you the most too. From now on, you don't need to try hard, just be a good baby for me, okay?" Xiao Mian's eyes sparkled with surprise, and she said firmly, "Okay, I want to be the best baby for my brother." she said, and then threw herself into Su Chen's arms, begging for a hug, like a cute little kitten, purring to its owner. Feeling the soft and wonderful touch in his arms, Su Chen's mood was extremely happy. Ding! Xiao Mian's favorability with U plus 4, current favorability 75. The scene was beautiful. Yi Xinyu, however, was full of envy, and her mood was very complicated. She didn't want to work hard either, and she also had a good impression of Su Chen. However, despite her obvious actions, Su Chen never noticed her. She was very puzzled. Obviously, the gap between herself and Xiao Mian was not that big, so why did Su Chen like Xiao Mian? But not her at all? Sigh. Yi Xinyu shook her head, picked up her red wine glass, gave it a gentle shake, and took a sip. Then she smiled again and said, Xiao Mian, let's drink some more red wine. This is Romani Conti, which costs 300,000 yuan a bottle. We can't waste it. Well, this sip is precious. Xiao Mian lifted her glass with a slight blush on her face. She felt that what she tasted in her mouth was not red wine, but the taste of money. Su Chen's mouth curled up, and she had already seen through Yi Xinyu's thoughts. She wants to get Xiao Mian drunk, and then let me take advantage of the situation, right? Sure enough, she's a good girlfriend. Chapter 30 Shuya's wife is here to check up on him. Do you want to put her to sleep? After 3 rounds of wine and a meal of delicious food. Brother Su Chen, we're drunk. Let's go rest. Brother Su Chen, I'm also feeling dizzy, I want to go to bed. Yi Xinyu and Xiao Mian's faces were flushed from drinking, and their eyes seemed to be covered in a layer of fog, blurry and confused. Su Chen thought about the reward he had received today, and there happened to be a presidential suite at the hotel. It would be a waste not to use it. He cut the dinner short. After a brief chat with Chef Anderson, he asked Zhu Wei to drive them to the center of Weihai. Weihai City Center Building. With a total height of 630 meters and 127 floors above ground, this building is known as the top of Weihai. Su Chen and the 2 others take the high-speed elevator to the front desk of the Grand Hyatt Hotel to check in. Led by the hotel butler, they arrive at the presidential suite of the Grand Hyatt Hotel on the 98th floor. The space is spacious and bright, full of a luxurious and extravagant atmosphere. You can see world-famous brand furniture everywhere, and even the body wash and shampoo are luxury brands. Yi Xinyu and Xiao Mian, the 2 sisters, looked around, their faces full of joy. My goodness! It costs 220,000 yuan to stay here for 1 night, and it feels like a waste to close your eyes and go to sleep. Wow, there's an indoor hot spring, a jacuzzi, and a sauna, I really want to enjoy it. If it weren't for Brother Su Chen, we would never be able to stay here in our entire lives. Su Chen looked indifferent, standing in front of the spacious French windows, overlooking the glamorous and prosperous night scene of Weihai City. He felt exceptionally relaxed. Brother Su Chen, what are you looking at? Xiao Mian ran over to the man happily, exclaiming, wow! This place is so high, I'm a little afraid I'll fall. Ha! Brother, look, that's the Oriental Pearl Tower. It looks so small from here. She grabbed Su Chen's arm, scared and excited at the same time. Su Chen laughed and said, are you afraid of heights? Xiao Mian nodded and said, well, a little. But I'm not afraid when my brother is here. Su Chen's mouth curved up slightly, and he took Xiao Mian's waist in his arms. Next to them, Yi Xinyu's teasing voice sounded, it would be nice if it were higher. Even if you and Mian did something embarrassing here, no one would see. Suddenly, Xiao Mian's face turned even redder, and she said in a dazed voice, Sister Xinyu, what are you talking about? I don't understand at all. Her eyes twinkled with starlight as she looked expectantly at Su Chen, her lips moving slightly, as if to hint at something. Su Chen wrapped his arms around her and lowered his head to kiss her. Xiao Mian let out a soft moan and obediently melted into the man's arms, trying her best to cooperate. Yi Xinyu was dumbfounded. She had just said it casually. And he took it seriously? She quickly looked away and calmed down. A few minutes later, Su Chen was about to go deeper and proceed to the next step. However, his phone rang. Their lips parted and the action stopped. Xiao Mian opened her beautiful eyes, her expression had already become lost in ecstasy, and a fine thread of crystal appeared, before she threw herself into Su Chen's arms. Su Chen looked at the incoming call and it turned out to be from Lin Shuya. This is trouble. 1. Accept? Accept what? Reject Lin Shuya's call and tell her to go play by herself. 2. Accept Lin Shuya's call in person, that's exciting. 3. Tell Xiao Mian to go hide first, then accept Lin Shiya's call. Seeing these three options, Su Chen's head grew a little big. After a moment of quick thinking, he chose the third option. Xiao Mian, go to my room and wait for me after you take a shower. Su Chen gently patted her head and smiled, saying, I need to take a call from the company to discuss some business, but I'll be right back to see you. Okay. Xiao Mian nodded with a blushing face, her voice soft and sweet as she said, Baby will be good and wait for brother Su Chen. You're really good. Su Chen stroked her cute face and watched her walk into her room. Ding. Xiao Mian's favorability with U+1. Then Su Chen immediately answered Lin Shiya's call. Su Chen, I'm sleepy. The voice of the stunningly beautiful CEO was very soft, and she had already put away her usual sharpness, showing her gentle side in private. Su Chen knew that she had hardly slept at all today, and at this point in time, she had just returned home from work. Then you go to sleep, I'm here. Well. Lin Shiya puffed up her cheeks and made a muffled sound, her cute and charming appearance and voice were rare to see. I can't sleep, I want you to tell me a story. If you don't hear from me again, hang up. When women are sleepy, they are generally especially cute when they snore. Su Chen nodded and smiled, then shall I go online and search for a little story to tell you? Lin Shiya let out a soft her voice infinitely charming and tender. Tell me quickly, otherwise I'll fall asleep. Lin Shiya's drowsiness hit, and she muttered in her sleep as she lay on her pillow, and then her voice gradually grew quieter. Su Chen. Sister Shiya, so there is such a cute little womanly side to you? At the same time. Presidential suite, master bedroom. Xiao Mian walked out of the bathroom, her S-shaped, superb figure on full display, crystal droplets of water, from her beautiful curves, sliding onto the carpet, beautiful beyond words. Brother. Thought of Su Chen's handsome figure, and Xiao Mian's body was already burning with heat. She lifted the quilt and lay on the bed, wrapping herself up, her blushing face full of joy and anticipation. I'll be good, be a good baby, wait for brother Su Chen to come back. Ooh, I've had a lot of red wine, I feel a little dizzy. Xiao Mian lay on the big bed waiting, gradually overcome by sleepiness. Half an hour later. Ding. Your favorability with Lin Shiya +1. Current favorability 89. It took me half an hour to get her to sleep this time. But it's not bad to be able to increase my favorability with Shiya a little. Then I'll be able to receive the big reward for reaching 90 favorability. Su Chen was in a good mood, and then returned to her own room. She found that Xiao Mian was already lying in bed, sound asleep. Su Chen was slightly startled, and sat by the bed, quietly watching her cute appearance. Xiao Mian's eyelashes trembled lightly, her breathing was steady and light, and her appearance was even more charming. This little girl, she's really obedient. Su Chen laughed softly, and suddenly her gaze flickered, and she saw next to her all the clothes that Xiao Mian had worn today, neatly arranged. Could it be that she is? Su Chen swallowed, but still unable to resist her inner curiosity, she gently lifted the quilt. A panoramic view of all the beautiful autumn colors. An S-shaped perfect body, a rare beauty on earth with an angelically cute face, it makes one's blood boil. Su Chen, as a passionate young man, could no longer remain calm.